Hey, kids, want to see a dead body?
This is a warning to all living mortals, that who shall ever open this chest of demons will release 13 of the most terrifying ghosts upon the face of the earth. Okay, cut it. This isn't going to work. Let's try some nostalgia bait.
It's kind of strange. You looking happily rain. I can't tell if you're bed. Or have you picked your target yet? It's empty. Got your dog bite. It's empty.
Okay, that was better. But let's try something a bit more cinematic.
Hey, where my broken arrows at? They try to tell us we can't fly. Like we too broken or something. I mean, I'd rather let them know. Balls up. Hold up. My squad about to roll up. Hold up. My squad about to roll up. Get them balls up. Get them balls up. Get them balls up. Get them balls up. Hold up. My squad about to roll up. Hold up. My squad about to roll up. All the way up. Get them balls 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 up. All the way up. Broken arrows get bows up. Sometimes I pray with my nose up. Thinking about when the world crumbles and my whole squad just goes up. Ain't gotta worry, we straight like an arrow, yeah. Ain't gotta worry about faith, nope. I'm on that straight and the narrow, yeah. I just go straight like an arrow, yeah.
Yeah, that's the shit I like. Let's start the Barroom podcast. Take it away, Jacob.
What up, ladies and gentlemen? We're back here, episode 140 of the Barroom Podcast. And yeah, we got a bunch of people who you guys know, a bunch of people who are back again, who didn't join us for our last week's show on G4, even though it was an awesome show hosted by me and this man down here, who's the only one getting credit for being here. The other two people are back here. Let's go ahead and introduce our good buddy Orange Hat. How's it going, Orange?
Back's sore, but I'm doing well.
I was gonna say, are you trying to like crack your like C4? Like, what are you doing right now?
Just trying to get it to pop a little bit. There we go.
Oh, yeah, popped until it cracks. Next thing you'll be on the kitchen floor. You can't move.
Oh, believe me, I've had that happen.
Also joining us here is our good buddy Cider. How's it going, Cider?
That's great. Hi. I played Yasuke Simulator today, and the demo, and it just lifted my spirits. Everything's great now. Yep, really good. A plus game, like absolutely must have. Go check out the demo, totally free right now. Absolutely a glorious game, absolutely historically accurate. By the way, it's my favorite part, especially when Yasuke gets a P226. That's a pistol, and just starts taking out dudes with that. It's pretty neat.
If it was historically accurate, he had an AK-47.
Well, I think that's in the next level, but that's after you pick up the Porsche, and that's the end of the demo. So
that's part of the DLC.
You know, Oda Nobunaga, all about those German Porsches, you know.
And then we have Rob, the man who fully backed from the beginning our 2025 Oscars Best Picture winner. How you feeling tonight, Rob?
I'm pretty happy for Sean Baker in Anora in general, but just seeing some of the takes on that from both sides of the culture war aisle is just something I'll never tire of, because I watched so many bad movies last year, and listen, Anora is not perfect; it's got its problems, but some of these takes are just like, okay, watch the movie, just watch the movie, and then if you don't like it, fine, but just can we pump the brakes on the hyperbole just for once? Because again, there were a lot of bad movies last year. And I really wouldn't put Anora in. Actually, it was like my 4th favorite movie of last year. Just full disclosure. So, while I'm like I didn't love it, and I didn't love a whole lot that came out last year. I still think there's stuff there to appreciate. Where we suffered through Amelia Perez and stuff obviously stuff that didn't even get nominated, like the Beetlejuice sequel and just Gladiator 2, and so. Yeah,
that's the shit that should have been fucking nominated.
Last 48 hours, just kind of reading everybody's take on things.
Yeah, like I said, we'll get into this in more depth later on here in the show, because I have kind of mixed feelings on the whole situation. I don't think that Anora was supposed to be the film that won a bunch of awards. Like I said, we'll get deeper into it when we get to that part of the discussion. We are here live on YouTube, Twitter, and we're here live on Rumble as well. So let's introduce everyone. Neozoic saying howdy to everyone in the chat here tonight. Couple questions for us. It says the first one, in memory of Gene Hackman, what is your favorite Gene Hackman movie, show, or performance? This is going to be a somewhat controversial one, but I had just watched Enemy of the State not too long ago, and I think he was great in that movie. I still think that when you look back, that's a movie that's very, very deceptively timely when you go back and look at it, because it's basically telling you, like, this is what the government could do to you back 30 years ago. So you can only imagine what they can do to you now, right? It was literally like a warning about an overarching police state, which no one listened to, and now we're here. So I really like that movie. Obviously, you guys got other ones. Orange, what would be your pick?
Enemy of the State is actually a close second for me. I really liked him in Quick and the Dead with Sharon Stone. That movie, he really got to bust out his villainy. I mean, this was the guy that killed his own son, and then wouldn't even acknowledge that he was his son afterward. It's like, holy shit, man, that's just pure evil. So rest in peace, Gene Hackman.
Cider, which one are you a big Gene Hackman fan? Do you know any films off the top of your head?
Well, Superman is Lex Luthor.
Yeah.
Yep, that's a go.
It really doesn't get better
for a lot of
people. Pulls off the toupee. It's really good.
Yeah, that's a lot of people's and again, I'm somebody who I don't really care for that Superman movie at all, but and I don't even think of Gene Hackman being in that, but he's Lex Luthor, and for a lot of people that's an absolutely great performance. I'm sure if I rewatched it, I would also come to that conclusion. For me, this is difficult because there's about 5 or 6 that are really great, but if I had to absolutely pick one, it's Harry Call in The Conversation. 1974. I mean, this is a precursor to Enemy of the State. It's about surveillance. It's about not knowing, working for whoever hires you, not knowing really who they are, not knowing what you are surveilling, how that's going to be used against the people that you're watching, that you're surveilling. So super creepy 1970s movie. It's very much like an intelligence thriller, a conspiracy thriller. So definitely check that one out if you haven't seen it. But just honorable mention to Unforgiven, which Orange had mentioned, The Quick and the Dead. Gene Hackman basically does I suppose a campier version of kind of what he did in Unforgiven. But yeah, all of those are just really great performances. And even though he was kind of at the end of his life there, and it was to be somewhat expected. It's hard to lose a figure like Gene Hackman just because he was so great in so many movies.
Yeah, as far as Gene Hackman goes, I feel like we will circle around back to the story on a later date, because there's a lot of questions about his death and his wife's death, because essentially what happened was that his wife, and I guess their dog were all found dead in their home in New Mexico, and there's a lot of questions about the circumstances that led up to it. A lot of people assume that, well, maybe it's carbon monoxide poisoning, because it's a common thing that happens. Silently kills everyone in the house. Now that's being said that, no, they were there for about 10 days before anyone spotted them, and apparently they died at different times. They're not expecting foul play, but there are some suspicions suspicious circumstances regarding it. So we don't really have a whole lot of answers about what's going on there, but it's definitely like, okay, what really happened to Gene Hackman during those last moments? And I guess that's going to be something that's going to be investigated in the coming weeks. So we may not have a full answer for a while, but we'll definitely circle back around it once we get some more information.
He was 95 years old. It's really hard to believe that someone would be like, that man's going to cause me trouble. You know, it's really hard to believe.
There is known the exact day that Gene Hackman died. He died on the 17th of February and that's because of the last recording of his pacemaker.
Ah, okay.
So they have, and they have also ruled out carbon monoxide poisoning.
Yeah, that was another thing that got ruled out too. So now people are kind of asking, was like, well, then how all three of them die at the same time? Like my guess is that if it wasn't carbon monoxide, maybe it was some form of like murder suicide, like a la like Benoit or something like that. But if that's not the case, then it's like, yeah, what the hell actually did happen there?
And why is the dog?
What kind of dog I'm kind of wondering what breed is the dog?
German Shepherd. It was a German Shepherd.
Then that dog got stuck in the closet.
Yeah, no idea.
Because German Shepherds are usually good at busting out, but if that dog died in a closet, then that door had to have been closed, and that dog just wasn't able to be fed. I'm willing to bet the dog died after Gene and his wife.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, there's a lot of details in the story that are adding up right now, but we'll touch more on that when more details come out. And then obviously Michelle Trachtenberg died. We'll talk about that in the closer here for our show. But she said that, what's your favorite Michelle Trachtenberg movie performance or show? I will say this. I mean, like I said, we'll talk about this in more depth later on. I would go with The Adventures of Pete and Pete. If you guys actually remember that show from the early 1990s, that would probably be my favorite. I know a lot of people are going to pick Euro Trip because, obviously she was basically half naked in that movie, and that's why everyone pointed to that one.
Buffy.
Buffy is another good one.
She was good in Buffy.
I was talking about Buffy too.
There was an episode of Criminal Minds that she was in where she played a twisted stalker and ended up killing herself and one of the investigators' love interest. And it's like, played that really freaking well.
Mm-hmm.
Damn.
I'm just gonna say mine, and it's no one else is gonna have this answer because it's kind of fucked up. But she was in this movie called Mysterious Skin with Joseph Gordon-Levitt, which is just, I mean, it's up there with like Larry Clark's movies. If anybody has seen Kids, it's kind of like that.
Damn.
It's really fucked. It's like really fucked up, but it is a fascinating portrayal of these people who, to me, it's a metaphor for Hollywood, absolutely. But it's like they're like in the middle of nowhere, small town, like Nevada or Arizona or something. And it's not easy to watch, but she's a very good actress. And I will say this about Michelle Trachtenberg. Like I never watched the stuff she was in, never watched Buffy. I never watched Gossip Girl. But every time I saw her in something, she exuded this almost purity, this innocence. There was something about her that was like, hey, there was something about her that was very easy to watch. She was very comfortable, as an actress, giving genuine performances. So when that news hit last week, I don't know why it hit as hard as it did, but that was hard. And Jacob, you were saying how there was evidence that she was not doing well, I didn't keep up with that probably as well as I should have, but when that news broke, that was kind of really hard to see. Just somebody that you had grown up with, you had seen do pretty well. Just a tough way to go.
Yeah, like I said, we'll talk about that in more detail later tonight, because when I heard it, it was like, yeah, it was shocking, but it wasn't surprising. But paying a little bit more attention to what had been going on, and like I said, I don't think anyone had really been looking at Michelle Trachtenberg's life probably in like the last 10 years or so they haven't really seen a lot of the ups and the downs, but there was a lot of stuff going on there. We'll talk about it in more detail. Leslie Tarkin's here. She says that she was going to pick Bonnie and Clyde for favorite Gene Hackman movie. And then it says that I hadn't seen any Trachtenberg films yet. You're probably a little bit older to see a lot of her stuff, so I don't think you'd see much of that. Let's see here. Yeah, we got Orange Chat in the chat tonight. Vanya says, everyone doing good? Yeah, we're doing pretty fine here, Vanya. Who else do we got here tonight? Let's see. I know we got a couple people dragging in. Morning Mayhem joining us here in the show. Yeah, I did a show with him last week. We actually had a real great conversation. We managed to somehow only go 40 minutes, but we could have easily gone a couple of hours if we had to. So it was a good thing that we limited it, because, yeah, we wouldn't have never stopped talking on that show. But go out and check out his show, Morning Mayhem, because he does a lot of good work over there. Doba Fett saying that Anora was my favorite for the best picture nominees. Yeah, we'll talk about more about that here too. Neozoic, I'll talk. What's your thoughts on John Cena's heel turn and comparing him to Hogan? I was probably thinking if we had enough time, we talk about this towards the end of the show. My general thoughts, just in case we don't have a conversation about it, I thought that it was exactly what WWE needed. Because let's be honest, if you have been following WWE the last couple of months, the road to WrestleMania sucked ass, and no one cared, and no one was really excited about this year's Mania. So Cena coming back and then turning heel in what's supposed to be his final year at the in-ring competition was definitely what needed to happen to grab the headlines. Where they go from here, we'll leave to see. But outside of Cena, there really isn't much going on with WWE on a positive light. But I said, if we have some time, we'll talk about that towards the end of the show. Maurice Johnson here said, did not watch the Oscars at all, but did see the clip of Conan O'Brien joking about Kendrick Lamar. Yeah, it is what it is. I mean, everyone's talking about Kendrick Lamar and Drake now. DK saying, yo, to all you people here. Did not know much about Michelle, didn't watch most of her movies, thought she was a good Ice Princess. Terminator Joe saying late again. Well, you're just in time, so don't worry about that. Crimson Tide for you. French Connection, Birdcage, Runaway, Jury, Scarecrow, Domino Principle, the Replacements, honorable mention. I think the only one on that I haven't seen is the Domino Principle. I think that may be the only one on there that I haven't checked out yet. So we'll circle back around to that here in a little bit. I want to start off with this story. Now, I know you guys aren't big sports fans, but this is something that I was initially wanted to talk about a few weeks ago that we didn't get a chance to roll back around to it, but it's been a month now, and we're seeing a lot of fallout from this whole thing. So I'm going to explain it to you guys just in case you haven't been following how exactly we got here. If you see this photo right here, this is a photo of LeBron James and Luka Dončić, who are now currently teammates on the Los Angeles Lakers. Now, this was a massive shock for a lot of people, including them, because they didn't even tell Luka he was being traded. He had found out after the fact. So here's how this whole thing went down. Cider, remember when we were doing the Royal Rumble stream about a month ago? It was like a little over a month ago. It wasn't that long ago. But remember we were doing that stream and watching WWE and all that good stuff?
Yes.
It was literally a month ago. How did you forget?
I don't remember what I had for breakfast.
We did 30 days.
I don't even know where I am right now.
Anyway, so yeah, this happened around literally
you are on Earth.
Is he though? Is he? That's the question. So hours after that stream, which was nearly 5 hours, by the way, I don't know how he didn't know. Anyway, so after that stream, it was about 1 o'clock in the morning on the East Coast.
Oh yeah, the chat was weird. That's right.
So anyway, so the guy, ESPN guy, who's now doing all the scoops over there, I think his name is Shams, posted a post at night, literally at 1 o'clock in the morning Eastern time, saying that the Dallas Mavericks have traded Luka Dončić to the LA Lakers for Anthony Davis and basically
somebody lose a bet.
Scrubs. So when he posted that, everyone was like, yeah, did somebody hack Shams? Because this can't be right. Why would you ever do something like this? This is a 25-year-old superstar, a player who's arguably top 5, top 3 player in the league right now, who's probably not even in his prime. He's only 25 years old. And his team, the Dallas Mavericks, just made it to the NBA Finals last season. So they had lost in 5 games to the Boston Celtics, but he just got them to the NBA Finals just last year. And out of nowhere, at literally the crack of fuck, they decided that, oh, by the way, we're going to trade our superstar player to the Los Angeles Lakers for an aging center who has injury issues throughout the last 10 years of his career. And we're basically getting nothing in return for it. So everyone was like, what the hell? we find out even more details that apparently Luka didn't even know about this. He wasn't consulted about this. He had just bought a home in Dallas, thinking Dallas is going to be his long-term destination. And then he finds out the same way everyone else does that that he got traded to Los Angeles, right? Now, LeBron claims that he had nothing to do with this, but like, who knows? It's LeBron. He lies all the time. So as no one could believe that this was real. Ever since this trade has happened, it has been all uphill for LA and all downhill for Dallas. Anthony Davis played one half of his first game of the Dallas Mavericks and then went down with an injury and has not played for them since. Last night, Kyrie Irving was playing in the game, tore his ACL. He's officially done for the season. As a result of this, fans have been protesting very, very harshly against the Dallas Mavericks. There's rumors behind closed doors that this may all be a ploy to basically collapse fan interest in Dallas so that they can sneakily move the team to Las Vegas in a few years. That is a theory, but that's been thrown around there for a while. And as a result of this, Luka Dončić with the LA Lakers, they think they've won like 7 of the last 10, and somehow they're now second in the Western Conference. There's still been no justification to why this deal was made. Now, the excuse from the Dallas insiders have been that they were unhappy with Luka's attitude and his physical fitness. There was rumors that at one point he had ballooned up to about 270, 280, and they were very concerned about that. He doesn't look like someone who would be 270, 280. I think he's like 6'6", I believe. So he's a pretty big guy, but he doesn't look like someone who got big and fat. Right? He's not like Zion. And they were complaining about his work ethic and whatnot. And it's like, okay, well, these are like issues that you can deal with behind closed doors. You don't just trade your guy within the conference to the Los Angeles Lakers. So now people are pretty much asking this. It's like, did the league, who admittedly had not been doing well in the rating sphere, did they essentially gerrymander this trade for him to go to LA to boost the profile of Los Angeles and the Lakers, to prop them back up to the top of the playoff standings? So if you look at the standings right now, there's a very realistic possibility that we could get Lakers Celtics in the NBA Finals, which would be a big time ratings pool for the NBA that needs the ratings right now because the NBA is not doing well. Was this a manufactured trade in order to, one, prop up Los Angeles?
Wait, Jacob, hold on. You said something really crazy there. The Lakers and the Celtics in the playoffs or whatever finals, whatever this is.
There you go.
Okay. How did the Celtics get there? Like we went from 0 to 60 there. Okay, like who the hell cares about the Celtics? I live in the region, and nobody gives a shit about the Celtics up here.
Well, you're in Maine, first of all, so let's clarify that. Second of all,
we don't have a team of our own, dude. If we're gonna care about basketball, it's the Celtics or nothing.
Toronto.
Well, to be fair, the Celtics are the defending NBA champions who are looking to repeat this year, so they actually do have a good team this year. I don't know how many people are passionately all in on the Celtics, but they won last year. Nope, everyone else just sucked last year, and then they won.
Oh, well, that explains it. They had like long COVID. Yeah.
Yeah, right. So
that just astonished me. You were like the Lakers and the Celtics. I was like, the fuck? This is an arcade lineup. The fuck are you talking about?
But this is the problem, though. Whenever the NBA is on a downward tilt, because if you look at the top 2 teams in the NBA right now, it's Cleveland and Oklahoma City. Now, for the mainstream fans out there, Cleveland and Oklahoma City is not a sexy matchup for the ratings, right? I mean, there's only going to be people, mostly local fans, who are going to tune in for that. But if you get the Lakers and the Celtics, you start playing old videos of Bird and Magic from the 80s and Kobe and Garnett in the 2000s, all of a sudden it's like we got ourselves a rating smash here. So this is what Sham said about what's his face, Luka Dončić, when he got traded. Like I said, completely blindsided him and basically everyone else with common sense about why they did this.
In talking to people on Luka Dončić over the last 72 hours, I was at that Lakers-Clippers game on Sunday. He had no intention ever of leaving Dallas. He had just bought a new home in Dallas, for a lofty price. He did not want to go anywhere. You think of a player coming from abroad, they're very committed, they're loyal, and that's how he viewed himself with the Mavericks. It's like one team, one city forever. And I think that's going to carry over to the Lakers. I think he's loving his time in LA. I think he's loving how the Lakers, you think about what the Lakers brand is, it's like treating stars like stars. It's Hollywood.
Nice
it's making the star players
Sports.
bigger than life. And that's what we're going to see with
Cider, not every Indian person is Vivek.
I will say this: he doesn't talk. He doesn't talk in that fake white guy voice like Vivek does. And don't get me wrong, I actually think he's an impressive impression imitation. But it's like, dude, that is that like that Dave Chappelle white guy voice. But
hello, I like mayonnaise and salt and nothing else.
So. I want to get your thoughts on this. We'll start with Rob here. There's two trains of thought here. It's like, one, did the NBA rig this trade to basically help the Lakers? Because no one in their right mind would ever give away a superstar the level of Luka at the age that he is at right now to a team like Los Angeles in their conference to make them better, arguably perhaps for the next 10 years. He's 25 years old, so you're looking at a situation where Luka in LA could literally be the face of that franchise for the next 10 years. Why would you do something so stupid? And then it hasn't gone well for Dallas either. All of their stars are now old and hurt. What's his name? Davis has been out for a month now. Kyrie's out for the season. So their only superstar they got is 35-year-old Klay Thompson. It is the only star that they have at this point. It's bad. And people in Dallas are pissed, and people in the rest of the NBA are looking like, what really went on here? Like, why was no other teams allowed to negotiate? Because that's another thing. People are saying that, well, if we knew that Luka was on the table, we would have offered more to Dallas to get Luka and bring him to our team, but no one even told us he was available. We just found out at 1 a.m. that he had already got traded to LA. What happened?
Yeah, and look, I don't know how Dallas was doing, this season, kind of before this trade. But I mean, I remember when Klay Thompson got traded, and this was after Dallas made it to the finals last year. They just had no defense and the Celtics, like those games, the Celtics were on fire. Like they were just getting open and just burying 3-pointers at like 60% or something, just something crazy like that. But so Dallas was supposed to be competitive this year. They were supposed to kind of be retooling, and they have Kyrie, they have Klay Thompson, they've got Luka Dončić, they've got a few like sort of bench / skill players that can pitch in when needed. And so they were going to take another run at it. So to anybody, and again, I'm a minor fan of the NBA. I basically only watch the playoffs because it's a joke league anymore. And I mean, I literally used to watch on Wednesday and Friday nights on ESPN, the NBA, like they would have marquee matchups, and it was really competitive and it was really fun no matter what time of the year it was. It wasn't just March and April and into the playoffs. So, and kind of looking at the aftermath here, you would almost have to say that it looks like Dallas is purposefully trying to tank. I know Mark Cuban gave up his majority share that he had in the team. And if you know about the Dallas Mavericks since the late 90s, you know how Mark Cuban transformed them into one of the best franchises in the NBA, especially through Dirk Nowitzki and the other player. I mean, Steve Nash was there before he went to Phoenix. And so you had a lot of really good Mavericks teams that were very competitive, that won a couple NBA titles. And ever since he stepped down from being the majority like owner of the franchise, it seems like the new owners or the controlling owners want to go in a different direction. And maybe it's more financially viable to do that when you're not competing. I don't know. I don't know the financials behind the scenes, but usually winning means more money. So I don't really understand their logic here. Maybe they just want to blow up the team and build their own team, build and draft their own players. But here's the thing, the NBA, it's not like the NFL where you can kind of retool every year and like, hey, you could surprise and get into the play. The NBA, it's like, if you don't have a star, you're screwed. You're stranded. I'm a Brooklyn Nets fan. And I never talk about them. That should give you a clue as to just how dead, like, being a fan of a franchise is without a star. It's like, okay, not to mention the NBA, has completely given up on calling traveling, double dribbles, it basically hasn't officiated defense in a really long time. much less, the guys out there aren't even like Luka. Luka's a great player on the offensive side of the ball. He can't play defense to save his life. He's terrible. So, I mean, all of this to say that like it is not, outside the realm of reason to think the NBA would just be like, okay, we need a boost. We're dying. And we've heard that all year that their ratings are in the crapper, even for like their reduced expectations. They're not even competing with the NFL. They're more or less competing with baseball when it comes back. So, and baseball is probably kicking its ass, to be completely honest. I'm looking forward to baseball season again. And I can't believe I'm saying that. But
to be honest with you, if you recall the All-Star weekend that we had just a few weeks back, hockey absolutely destroyed basketball because no one talked about the basketball All-Star game at all. With hockey, there was literally like USA versus America, like, the territorial war going on social media based on their version of the All-Star game. So it's like even hockey was smashing basketball at this point. It's like they're falling down on the totem pole pretty fast. And I'm gonna ask you this here. I think one of the biggest problems, of course, people can point to LeBron, and he's definitely a big part of it, but I think with this crop of NBA stars, what people have noticed is that most of these people are extremely entitled, very anti-American, which definitely hasn't helped them at all. But the biggest part is that now these guys are getting paid more money than anyone in the NBA has ever made. Like, you got people making $60-70 million a year now, which is absolutely absurd. And you can't even get these people to play like 2/3 of a season anymore because now they're load managing, so they don't want to play 82 games like they're paid to do. It's like, let me see if I can play like 55 and 60, like only when it's like convenient for me. And people are like, dude, I'm still paying top dollar to see these NBA superstars who might not even be there by the time the game time arrives. And am I gonna get a refund of my money? No. Do I have to? Why am I shelling out all these dollars for these self-righteous, abhorrent superstars? And that's turned a lot of people off. Yeah, dunk contest was only good because of Mac, and he's not even actually in the league. He's a G League player. That's where he is right now. So I mean, what do you think is the biggest reason people have just kind of tuned out of the NBA? I mean, certainly stuff like this is not helping.
I mean, if you watch an average game, and I mean, it's barely organized basketball. And what I mean by that is it's guys jacking up shots. It's like there's no offense being run. It's just like find the guy with an open look and let him jack up a shot, or, clear out a lane for a guy to run through and dunk while he travels, by the way. I mean, there's a lot of reasons why the game has suffered, and it's like, because nobody plays the game anymore. Nobody plays defense. Nobody runs sets on offense. It's not about good passing and teamwork. It's showboating. It's almost like the average game has become like an all-star type of game. Now the all-star games have become ridiculous. So obviously that comparison sounds silly, but there's just no flow to the game. And when people go to NBA games, it's to be seen on TV, or like, to be seen on the Jumbotron or whatever. It's almost like, and the thing that draws people to those games at the end of the day are stars. And I don't know, it just feels like a flash in the pan, all sizzle, no steak, very substance free kind of athletic form of entertainment, and again, I have my own issues with the NFL and some of the rule changes, but man, if the NFL ever becomes the NBA, I mean, that's just like, I will just stop watching, because the NBA is a joke, especially compared to where it was, 20, 25 years ago.
Yeah, it's not in a good spot, and like I said, kind of on the same lines of what WWE did with turning John Cena heel this weekend. This was a desperate move to keep people interested in essentially the sport, but like I said, outside of that LA bubble, and this is another part of this story I'll talk about here in a second once I get with Orange Insider on this one here, but I've noticed that there's a lot of rigging of sports lately, primarily towards the city of Los Angeles. And look, I get it. LA's a big market, but it's not the only market. But look at it from this perspective. If you guys are fans of baseball, you have noticed that for some reason, every single free agent is just go sign with the Dodgers now. Like every single one. Like people are coming from like Japan and Korea and all over the world just to sign with the Dodgers. Every major free agent over the last couple years have all signed with. It's almost like they're super loading up the LA Dodgers so that they can be the premier face of the entire league. And it's like, yeah, that's great if you're a massive LA fan, but if you're not, what does this appeal to you coming to this upcoming season? That they got a team that can win 120 games and win another title because they're a big market and all that? Go back a few years with the NFL. Remember when the Rams won the Super Bowl? The Super Bowl that just so happened to be in their stadium in Los Angeles in front of a bunch of celebrities where they're doing a halftime show with all these LA-themed rappers who also just happen to be there too. It's like, with the exception of like the NHL, which at this point probably is the most non-corrupted league of the big four here in the United States of America at this point, because I mean, they don't have a massive audience, they have a massive wave of influence, but all these other leagues are just pointing like LA, and at some point you gotta be like, okay, it's like, do you just want the focal of the whole thing to just be Los Angeles and fuck the rest of the country? It's like, what are we actually doing here? Warren Chat, what is your take on the story here with Luka in LA?
Is this that sports thing?
Yeah.
Yes, it's sports ball.
I have no opinion. I'm sorry. I tuned out. Sports just, it doesn't appeal to me anymore.
What a mark.
Cider, what's your take on this story? Oh boy. Cider's brought something there.
Fuck! You're kidding. Judge.
That was 11:30. The night before that announcement was made, as the owner of, I believe it was Dumont, was the owner of the Dallas Mavericks, had to face the reality that he had lost the poker game and had to give over arguably the fastest rising player in the league to a team that a lot of people didn't really see that coming. So, yeah, I'm betting it was some kind of like game of poker, some kind of, pin the tail on a donkey kind of situation. That's why it was in the middle of the night. Everybody had been drinking too long, and the guy was like, "Oh shit, I bet that player. Oh man, all right, he's the Lakers now, I guess. Damn."
It's like someone was trying to put a trade in like the playoff machine, except for it was a real trade, and he didn't realize until after the fact.
Yeah, right. It's like that Pokemon trade thing, but he accidentally like okayed it instead of just previewing the other Pokemon on the other side.
There should always be a "Are you sure?"
Yeah, are you sure you want to trade this?
Yeah, so this is Nico Harrison. He is the general manager of the Dallas Mavericks, and basically everyone wants him dead because, like I said, he's essentially crippled this franchise. There was a stat earlier today that this franchise does not have
evil O.J. Simpson.
This franchise does not have control of their first round pick for the next 6 years. So that's how bad of a situation that this team is in right now. You just traded away your number one superstar to the Lakers, who are probably going to end up winning a couple of titles with him. Meanwhile, you guys want absolutely butt kiss with him down in Dallas. So yeah, people are just absolutely furious about this. And if the rumors is true that they're essentially tanking the fanfare in Dallas on purpose so they can make a play to move this team to Las Vegas, then like I said, now we're just playing favorites to quote unquote the big markets where all the money is. So it's like I said, just tell me the NBA is fake. Just tell me pro sports is just all fake, that you should even waste your time in investing in any of this, because they can just decide that, well, you know what, we're getting more television viewership money from this market, so we're just going to uproot your entire team. And if you don't like it, I guess you can go get bent.
It's funny though, because like the Raiders are terrible anyway. And so it's like they ended up in Vegas no matter what. And now they're there and they're still terrible. So, I mean, it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to work out for Dallas. Just, trying to get out of that. Because, I mean, why would you want to leave Dallas for Las Vegas? You know what I mean? Is it like what? More money? New stadium?
Money.
I mean, to be fair, owners
Better
get a
bitches.
shitload of money. They get a shitload of money and to like, hey, come to our city and we'll build you whatever you want and blah 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 blah. So it's at the end of the day, that's all these people care about is money and profit. But this whole thing just is like, okay, but why would you get rid of your best player? And that makes
And
sense.
to mention that, remember it was like almost 10 years ago now where the NFL decided that LA was just going to get 2 teams. Like, despite the fact that 2 teams already had failed in Los Angeles in the 1990s, it's like, no, we're just giving you guys 2 franchises no matter what. And from an objective standpoint, of somebody who knows LA very, very well, if you were going to put 2 teams in Los Angeles, it would have been the Rams and the Raiders. I would argue that the Raiders to this day are still the most popular team in the city of Los Angeles. Maybe if you want to make an argument for the Cowboys, you can too, but the Raiders actually have pedigree and background in Los Angeles. But the problem is that if they had done that, they would have had to have moved the Chargers to Las Vegas, and the stadium was not ready yet. That means that we would have held Qualcomm for a few more years. And to be honest with you, the Chargers are not a group of people who travel well. They're synonymous to San Diego. So San Diego fans were not going to travel all the way to Las Vegas, which is literally a 4.5-hour drive, just to go watch the Chargers play in brutally lost fashion. So they decided, okay, well, we'll keep the Chargers in Los Angeles and then put the Rams there. Both of those moves were only to boost the value of the franchise. And yeah, we'll just move the Raiders to Las Vegas because why not?
Well, this is what I'm telling people about everything going on right now. There's a lot of like upheaval in entertainment at this very moment. I don't know if you caught this earlier, but BlackRock dropped their DEI initiative publicly. You and I both know they're not done.
Yeah.
But they publicly dropped it, which means they're not going to be discussing it. They're going to have to take a little bit to retrain everybody on the brand new words, which means we're going to get probably a couple of years of things not sucking so hard. So, what I'm talking about is this is the turning of the soil is what I'm talking about. And what we're looking at right now is that the NFL, the NBA, everything that was like a foundational part of American culture is gone. It's not even a corpse of what it was. It's barely bones of what it was. And the reason is that the people who inherited it, the boomers, they didn't have any passion for it. It was either handed to them or it was a status symbol. It wasn't something that they actually had a passion for. And that's why all of these different industries are falling apart. You got tech, you got movies, you got auto, all of it, because the people currently running it don't have a passion for it. They're just there to say, I run this. I own this team. I'm the one that does the thing. And that's what it's all about. That's why all the ratings have fallen apart. That's why nobody cares about this stuff anymore. Because at the heart of it, there's no passion. And as you and I know, passion sells it. It's only going to be about another, I don't know, 2 years, 3 years before robots take over the whole thing anyway. So you're just going to have like Optimuses pitching the ball 2 miles to each other, literally downtown. He's going to be able to dunk,
Well, Rick, we're glad you're here. You're actually relevant to this conversation, believe it or not. As someone who lives in Texas and clearly has a Luka jersey, is Dallas the closest team to your location? Wouldn't it be San Antonio?
I think actually Arizona is closer to El Paso
Phoenix?
than yes, I think they are actually closer. So,
But
no.
What is your take on Dallas torpedoing their franchise, kamikaze style?
Well, first, Luka got shafted. I mean, do not tell him that they were going to trade. They were going to trade him, and really, he is the franchise. I mean, he is the Dallas Mavericks. For a lot of people, he is the face. I know because the first time I went, I had no idea who he was, but everyone was wearing a Luka shirt or jersey, a few Nowitzki's, but by and large, it was all Luka. He was the face. He was the face of the franchise, and you tossed him out for what? For what players? People that are on their last legs, perhaps literally, and you sent him off to Los Angeles. I don't think anyone who was a Dallas Mavericks fan liked this. But I think most people were expecting Luka to have the statue next to the Dirk Nowitzki statue that's outside American Airlines. Now maybe they will. Who knows? Maybe they'll find a way. But I don't know why they did this deal. There's no logic. Someone who knows probably a little, somewhere between orange and cider. I know a little bit, but not as much as cider does when it comes to basketball. I mean, I still pronounce them as Celtics. All right, that's how much I know about basketball. I still say Boston Celtics. So I'm just puzzled as to why they did this deal. I'm not.
Celtic Pride with Daniel Stern. Come on,
It's Celtic Pride.
Celtic
I'll
Pride,
say
yeah.
Celtic. I'm not a conspiratorial type of person, but I actually think that Jacob is closer to the truth than he normally is in his conspiracy theory.
I mean, look, it's out there, and I know we have like 3 leagues that have all fallen into this trap here. So I don't know, like it doesn't smell right. Like I said, LA is currently number 2 in the Western Conference. Dallas is in complete and utter free fall.
Yeah.
They'll be lucky if they even make the playoffs when this whole thing is said and done, which is insane to think about. It's only been a month, and this could easily go down as the worst trade in NBA history when it's all
It
said
was
and
an
done. This is how bad it
unnecessary
is.
trade. That's the thing. It was an unnecessary trade. Like I said, Luka was the face of the Mavericks to the point where I got this because everyone else was wearing them and I had no idea who this person was. I had to call my friend and ask, "How do you pronounce this name?" because was completely clueless. He was the face to a lot of fans, Dallas fans and people who are not Dallas fans but who know the team. He was the face of the franchise, and now you've tossed him out for what? For what reason? What purpose? It doesn't make any sense. But no, I'm probably in alignment with you, Jacob, about this being some sort of a scheme to boost Los Angeles and boost LeBron James. But I mean, can LeBron get his child to boost his name up and down up in Los Angeles?
No, his child is a giant walking pile of ass. So yeah, no, he's not getting any glory from LeBron James whatsoever. Yeah, no, I mean this whole thing just stinks, and I mean honestly, if we do end up somehow getting Lakers and Celtics again, and it really just shows the absolute desperation of the NBA that their popularity is based after how long it's been now, 40 years. After 40 years, their popularity is basically ridden on the success of 2 teams, and they have 30. It's like, why even have 30 if you can only rely on 2? Might as well go back to the days of Wilt Chamberlain when there was only 8 teams in the league.
You know what they could do is they could always bring in the WNBA. They could bring in Angel Reese, so she could sell her hamburgers.
Watch if she can miss 4-foot layups like she does in the WNBA.
They should do that. That'll be the next thing that they're going to try.
So
it's bad.
The problem with it is that like I said, at the root of it, there's no passion. Meaning the entertainment that you're seeing, this 2-team thing, is because they don't believe that you, the fans, have the mental bandwidth to care about more than 2 at a time. So he decided these are the strongest ones and just went with it because it's kind of like how they did this with the MCU, how everything sort of got tied in around the Avengers, even though the Avengers had fuck nothing to do with anything. Remember that? And that's what happened here with the NBA, is that the whole thing is tied around these 2 teams, even though they have fuck nothing to do with anybody else's games. And that's what they're doing this. They're trying to keep LeBron's legacy alive long enough to build up Luka into somebody that can drink Gatorade and get people to watch the fucking games. And that's the problem that you have, is that it's not about the sport. Hello? Why are they not watching NASCAR? Because it's not about the sport. It's about how many fucking wrecks you can have without somebody dying.
But my question is, why would anyone want to watch Luka? Isn't that a symbol of white supremacy if you have the white guy?
No, about 2 months ago, we stopped that. So, I forgive you for not knowing because you were on the run at the time, but we stopped that.
Oh, that's right. I was trying to sneak into your attic.
What's ironic about all of that is that Luka actually comes from like those FIBA tournaments that are absolutely in Europe. Those tournaments are like I don't want to say they're like soccer, nothing is like soccer basically, but they're intense. They are incredibly competitive. And like that guy is already has a shit ton of experience playing pretty much against the best players in the world. So like, the NBA, I wish the NBA would have stayed what it was in the 2000s, but it's much more interested in, I guess, getting a global Chinese audience. Shouldn't say global, it's mostly Chinese, audience to buy their sneakers, buy their jerseys, which is why, what is his name? Daryl Morey got slapped a couple years ago when he was criticizing China's like brutality and treatment of its citizens and workers, etc. And, he basically got told to shut the hell up by the commissioner. So we know where the NBA is headed. It's kind of been going that way for a while.
Yeah, by the way, real quick, this is a video picture from earlier today in Dallas as a massive dust storm swept the city. So literally nothing well has happened in Dallas since this trade. It's almost as if they're getting like the plague of Egypt has come upon Dallas.
If they like the Chinese so much, they should not recognize this. They've lost the mandate of heaven. That's a big deal in China. So the thing is that the way to fix this is very simple. You can do it tonight. They can do it right now tonight. What they need to do is have every lead of the team get together and play a game. That's it. All of them. Mm-hmm. Run them out there and make it a 15-man on 15-man game. Gigantic court. Just draw it out with chalk. Do the camera angles on the cranes. Have the drones come around. Just have these guys out in the fucking parking lot. Do that right tonight. And that'll get people going. They'll be talking about it everywhere. Unannounced. Run it on Instagram. Run it on YouTube. Don't break into TV. And just people do what Trump did. Do the digital campaign.
All right. I will just say, Cider, if they do that, do not put this game on Hulu because they will cut it off just before the game ends. All right.
Right.
Just saying.
That's what I mean. Like,
watch the rest of the game on Disney Plus.
That's what I mean. Like, none of that. Go straight to the social media stuff. Go straight to the streamers and things like that. Do that. Go that way. Because that's where the audience is. They're not watching television. They're not. Like, you guys, you got to understand our age group. Well, maybe not for you, Rick. No offense, but like, our age group. I'm sorry. I'm just trying to be courteous, but our age group has like almost
to be your father, Cider.
No, but you're outside of. You're like more Gen X than millennial. Is what I'm trying to get.
Proudly
at,
Gen X, yes.
And that's what. So anyway, the situation is that what it is that the Our age group is pretty much universally left the streaming platforms, left cable, left live television. Yep. What we do is we watch YouTube now. There's a streamer that does everything. You watch football, there's somebody out there that's streaming some Pee-wee league you can watch all day long, Somebody's got college ball from the bleachers on their phone, That's what they're doing, and that's where people are. So that's where you go. And like I said, just get all those 30 players together, 15-man on 15-man out in the parking lot. Do it street style. I mean, people would love that. You just get dudes in like their regular stuff, not their team jerseys, just regular old tank tops and shorts. Not sponsored by anybody. Just some dudes playing basketball under the parking lot lights. People would love that.
I mean, there's ways to fix the game, but I think at this point, with corporate ball driving the way the league is run, I don't think there's any way to right the ship at this point. I think we're too far gone with the NBA. So maybe there's some hope of some other leagues, but we're close. We're close.
Let's talk about jet boots.
Let's talk about the Oscars here, the Academy Awards. As you guys know, on Sunday we did not view the awards because I had the Bible ends and I was not moving that show for the Academy Awards because it was a 2-pack of ass. But the 97th annual Academy Awards happened this weekend, and apparently the big winner for this weekend was a little film called Anora. And that one basically dominated. It won Best Picture, Best Director, Best Actress, Best Screenplay as well, original screenplay. I think they adapted
Best editing with it too.
Yeah. So that was the one that dominated. Obviously, here on this show, I predicted that Amelia Perez was going to be the movie that dominated with all its nominations. However, they had a little problematic issue there with their trans superstar who got caught saying some naughty things in the past several years ago, and basically the entire industry turned on her, and as a result of that, that movie was pretty much dead in the water. So this is pretty much the second runner up here. There's been a lot of interesting takes on this movie because I don't think a lot of people actually knew what this movie was or what it was about, and when they saw it, they were like, okay. So it's basically a movie about a sex worker who basically marries a Russian oligarch, and then really, really bad things happen. It's like it's Pretty Woman but shittier. I mean, that's probably the best way that I can explain it to someone who has not seen the movie. I think Rob and Rick are the only two that's seen it so far, right?
Yeah, yes.
Yeah. So we'll talk about more of the in-depth part of here, but for most of the normies, this is all they really saw here. They saw what's her name, Mikey
Madison.
Mikey Madison. Mikey Madison. I don't know. My brain was thinking Mickey, maybe because that's actually a girl's name. But Mikey Madison won the Academy Award. I'm gonna be honest with you. The only thing that I've ever seen Mikey Madison in was that terrible Scream 6 movie that came out like 4 years ago.
You didn't see Once Upon a Time in Hollywood?
Was she in that movie?
She is the girl who gets lit on fire by Leonardo DiCaprio and falls in the pool.
Right. She's the one that got the can in the face.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah.
Because I remember Sydney Sweeney and what's her face?
Margaret Qualley.
Margaret Qualley was in that movie. I completely forgot.
Austin Butler was in there too.
Yep.
But yeah, besides that, and like The Scream was like the only movie that I've seen her in. But now she's an Academy Award-winning Best Actress winner. So she's there with the elites here, and people took obsession to her speech because she praised the quote-unquote sex worker community, which is whores. And then just be very, very clear here. She praised whores because she's whores. So this was the video that most people saw.
I also just want to again recognize and honor the sex worker community. I will continue to
the thing with the left, especially the progressive left over the last several years, is that they've been the ones on this train trying to convince everyone sex work is real work. We need to respect sex workers like we respect, like engineers and contractors and stuff like that. And everyone's like, no, you're a prostitute. Like that's all you are. Like, stop trying to make it seem like you're doing something important for society. Like you're just a whore. That's all it really goes down to. But this is her speech here, and
support and be an ally. All of the incredible people, the women that I've had the privilege of meeting from that community, has been one of the highlights of this entire incredible experience.
Yeah, so that was her acceptance speech that led to her getting big. Now, there's been a few people out there who's been very vocal about their dislike of the film here. Jason Whitlock went viral earlier this week because he saw the film and then he was like, what the hell is this? It's basically pornography. I'm going to play you a little bit of what he said about this film. Like I said, Rick and Rob, you guys seen the movie, so you can basically debate whether he's on the money or if he's completely well off. I mean, you have to understand he does come from that. I want to call him a boomer, but he's basically very, very close to it. But this is his take of the film.
I didn't watch the Oscars, but I heard and I saw on social media that Anora won the Oscar, Best Picture. And I was like, okay, it's 2 a.m. I just woke up unexpectedly. Let's watch the movie Anora. Let's see what it's all about. And holy cow, was I sitting like, are you kidding me? This is a porno. And I'm telling you, that's what went through my mind, particularly during the first hour, 45 minutes to an hour of this movie. It's like, this is a porno. It starts with a scene of just a line of strippers in G-strings. They're topless in G-strings, and they appear to be in some sort of champagne room giving out lap dances.
Yes.
And they're leaving hardly anything to the imagination. This is the first scene of the movie. It's just a long line until they finally get to Anora, who calls herself Annie, and she's giving someone a lap dance. And it's about, the movie's about a sex worker that marries some 21-year-old child that's a son of a Russian oligarch. And they get married after he pays her for sex, and spends a week with her. I think he spends $15,000 for her to spend the week with him. And I'm watching this movie in the first hour, and I'm like, how did a porno win the Oscar for best movie?
Well,
how does
actually,
particularly in the first hour, I'm watching. I'm going, this has no plot. This has no character development. None of these people, from Ani to I think the little Russian kid's name was Vanya.
Yes.
Neither one of them likable. They're drugged up, vaping, smoking weed, doing coke, drinking the entire, and when they're not having sex. In the first 45 minutes to an hour of that movie, he must have banged her 8 times, and they showed all 8 of them. And I'll have to go back. Maybe it was only 6, but it felt like 8. And it's just like, how much sex can they pour?
It do be like that sometimes. It do be like that.
And I'm like, this is the best we have. This is American art. This is American cinema. This is the best movie in the world.
Well, there were very few.
He's not wrong.
He is wrong because unfortunately, this is not about a larger cultural thing. This is just Sean Baker. This is what Sean Baker does.
He is obsessed with it. He is obsessed
He ain't talking about Sean Baker. He's talking about the movie and its content. He's saying that was, or how the hell was that the best movie?
Hold on, before we turn into a free-for-all here, let's go to Rob first. Like I said, Rob is more favorable towards the movie here. Then I'm going to go to Rick, since you guys are the ones who've seen it. And then we'll get Orange on here. So,
I've also
Rob,
seen
what's your
it.
take on it? Oh, you have seen it.
Yeah, I mean, I actually like most of Jason Whitlock's takes and stuff. I mean, I don't agree with most of what he's saying here. But this is the world that Sean Baker makes movies in. He made a movie that came out in 2015 called Tangerine, which is about transgender prostitutes in LA. He shot it on an iPhone, and that was the big selling point. He's made low budget indie movies, but yeah, he made Starlet, which is about a girl shooting a porn while she befriends this old lady who she finds like treasure in her backyard. And he did Red Rocket, which had Simon Rex in it, who like was in that Epstein Island movie that we saw last year, which is about this like out of work porn star who tries to basically seduce a 16-year-old girl to come out to Hollywood. And like that he makes titillating, thought-provoking, push your buttons kind of movies that used to get made in the 1970s that don't really get made anymore because frankly there's not a whole lot of commerciality or commercial options for them. That's just the movie market. But all in all here, okay, I think it's about, you're looking at a train wreck. You're seeing 2 young people who don't know what's coming, who don't know that they're making all these self-destructive decisions. They don't fucking know anything about real life. They don't know where this is headed. And all the while they're being brash, arrogant, loud, obnoxious. And it's like, it's going to end in what I would say is heartbreaking fashion. It's going there. To me, that's what should be taken away from the movie, is that they're young, they're stupid, they don't fucking know anything. And in that way, it is a comedy. It's tragic, but it is also comic. And I think it went on too long. I think it kind of spirals out of control during the moment when she's fighting to like stop being from being held down and breaking shit. And, kind of before they go out to look for Vanya. So, I mean, there are issues with the movie. If you don't like it, you don't like it. You know what I mean? Totally fair. It's not going to be everybody's cup of tea. But I do not think it even comes close to being pornographic. You know what I mean? Especially in the spirit of the kind of movies that it takes after from like the 1970s. So, but yeah, that's kind of my just general.
It's not an outright hardcore pornography, but I mean, there's some scenes that are definitely you can label pornographic pretty
There's
easily.
Sex scenes. Yeah, absolutely.
Rick, because obviously you were a little bit more upset about her winning this award and kind of the movie winning Best Picture, even though we were arguing about a completely different film before this happened. But now that this is reality here, what's your thoughts on Anora being the Best Picture and Mickey winning the Best? Mikey. I can't call a woman Mikey. That sounds weird.
Nobody fucking cares what her name is.
Well, I think Rob is much more gentle on it than I did. I did see it because it was a Best Picture nominee. I found it long. I did not find it funny. I found it rather boring, and it's interesting. This guy, Jason Whitlock, is that his name?
Yeah.
He had the same kind of idea I did, because I did call it Pretty Woman: The Dark Side. It's like a dark version of Pretty Woman, although Pretty Woman was always a fantasy and that was a comedy, and it had adults. Maybe that was one of the differences, is that it did have adults versus these teenagers. And I didn't like her because, as I've said, she was willing to go along with a green card marriage. He flat out said, I want to get married so I won't go back to Mother Russia, and you'll do it. And he's like, oh, okay, I will. So I didn't particularly like her. I didn't like him. I never liked him. And the only person I liked was the Russian thug who was actually nice to her. Apart from that, they're all rather horrible people, but they're Russian. So I'll say that I did not give it a positive review because I had issues with it. I had issues with the length. I had issues with the overall story. I was not impressed. I think there weren't that many good films actually nominated. But to be fair, I didn't say anything but Emilia Perez. I did not want Emilia Perez to win. I wanted anything else to win, so I can't complain too much. As for Mikey Madison, I think she was the third best actress in that category. I thought Fernanda Torres was better in I'm Still Here. I thought Demi Moore was better.
I think everyone was shocked that Demi didn't win.
No, I wasn't shocked. I did say many times that it was a 3-woman race, that it was Madison, Moore, and Torres who was making a serious bid for it. So I wasn't surprised. I wasn't surprised at this, and I've always disagreed with you, Jacob, on the idea that Emilia Perez was going to sweep. It never was going to sweep. I said it would win.
I said dominate. I never said sweep. I said dominate.
No, you said sweep. I'm pretty sure you said sweep. And moreover, I never thought it was going to dominate. I said it was going to be 3-2, 2 to 3 Oscars that it was going to win, and it got the 2 that I thought it was going to win: supporting actress and song. Both of them are terrible, and they will rank as some of the worst choices. Fortunately, it did not win foreign language or international feature. Because again, I'm Still Here just had a good push towards the end. I don't think Mikey Madison, I guess it's fine for the performance that she gave, but I thought it was not a good performance. And I'm sorry. I know that people are like, oh, this is, a performance for the ages. We'll be talking about this forever. It's one of the great performances. I'm sorry. You cannot put her in the same league as Vivian Leigh or Olivia de Havilland or Katharine Hepburn. If you want to, good luck with that. But there haven't really been good lead actress performances in the past few years. Okay, Emma Stone, she was good, but I found her very mechanical. Michelle Yeoh, I actually liked. I know most of you did not. But Jessica Chastain, that's worse.
Terrible.
I'll take
Just
Mickey.
so
I'll
bad.
take Mikey Madison over Jessica Chastain, which was a parody.
So Rick,
yes,
I just wanted to say real quick, because you'll get this reference. I'm now inspired to write the remake to Babyface from 1933, because I do want to make this movie about a woman who uses her sexuality and wiles to move up in the world. And just imagine the places you could go that you couldn't in 1933. So there you go.
Yeah, but Mikey Madison is no Barbara Sandwick.
Even
you will concede that, Rob. Even you will concede that.
Orange, I want to get your take on this whole thing based on the movie winning and then Whitlock's comments too. Obviously, the movie winning.
First off, the movie winning is absolute garbage, because here's the thing, folks. The movies that all won, nobody fucking heard of them. Nobody fucking heard of them when they were out in the theatrical runs. They are going for the obscure shit because all the good shit is not woke. And not only that, they got rid of Emilia Perez or whatever the fuck that stupid thing is because, the guy fucking said shit about George Floyd, and that killed the entire film. The film's chances at awards. But this Anora thing, I watched it, and yeah, I had the same reaction as Whitlock. I was like, what the fuck is it? When did softcore porn, because that is what it is, softcore, folks, is different than hardcore. You see the penetration in hardcore. You don't see the penetration in softcore. And yes, they have that sort of shit in this movie. Now, folks, yes, there is story behind it. There is a story there. And yes, Rob, for a bit of it, is right. It can be used as a cautionary tale for the ignorance of youth. But the fact that this movie won Best Picture is the main thing that I want to draw your attention here. Over the last 7 fucking years, or 8 fucking years, what have we heard? We heard that sexualizing women is a sin, is the worst thing you can do to women. And then suddenly they have this movie coming out and making Best Picture. I'm sorry, how does that fucking work?
Well,
how does that fucking stand? You just said that anybody who freaking sexualizes women is evil. You're fucking misogynistic. You're freaking all this stuff. And then suddenly this woman comes out, Mikey, whatever the fuck Madison comes out. This one's for the whores. I'm sorry. What the fuck?
Well,
You're saying that sex workers are fucking acceptable things? Fuck you, Hollywood. If you're so fucking for it, go out and fucking do it. Go out and fucking do it. Step that shit up. Be one.
I mean, you can argue they're already doing it. A lot of those women in Hollywood probably slept their ways. Yeah.
The thing is, all right, to get back to the point before I go too much on a fucking rage fest here, the point is they are nothing but absolute fucking hypocrites because they spent the last fucking 8 years telling people like you, me, and everybody else that if you fucking sexualizing women is fucking wrong. And then this fucking movie comes up, a movie about a sex worker, leaves nothing to the fucking imagination, and it's given Best Picture or Best this, Best that. It was a second place contender for Emilia Perez because they found out that Emilia, or the person that played that fucking weird tranny thing, freaking didn't like George Floyd and made some stupid statements. You know what? Congratulations, you fucking commie ass Hollywood bitches. You just slammed somebody for fucking free speech, for their free speech. And then you go out and just go full fucking satanic debauchery. I am sorry. This movie does not deserve Best Picture. Yes,
so
it's
all right. I will agree. I will agree that it does not deserve Best Picture. I thought there were some other better nominees, but I do not think that Carla Sofia Gascon was going to win. And I think anyone who really thinks that is wrong. He was not in contention. And I don't think that the tweets were the thing that killed the chances. It was the fact that there were other films that people actually liked more, like Anora. Obviously, they liked it more, and they liked Complete Unknown enough to nominate it, not to give it anything. A surprise for The Substance. And I will point out also that technically we have had an X-rated Best Picture winner, Midnight Cowboy, which was rated X and was considered very graphic for its time. It's probably not.
And what year was that?
That was 1969, I think.
It came out in 69, but it won in 70. So
during the summer of during sexual revolution. Got it.
Okay. Yeah. But again, I thought it was graphic, but I do not think it would be pornographic. And I mean, it does involve a sex worker, which is something that Sean Baker does seem to have a fixation on.
Sean Baker seems to have made it his life mission to kind of normalize sex, where he's going on record and saying that he thinks that prostitution needs to be decriminalized and all ways, shapes, or form. And Leslie Tarkin brought up a good point here that the last 2 best actresses in the Academy Awards have basically gotten awards playing whores. Because Emma Stone did that last year, and now did
that
this
is
year.
true. And but then of course you guys were always saying that, oh, Michelle Yeoh, she shouldn't have won. She didn't play a whore, but you're
I didn't say
complaining
shit about
that
Michelle
too.
Yeoh not winning.
No,
I
I'm
didn't
saying
say shit
people are
about her
complaining
not
about
winning.
her
Not
winning.
What's
her
interesting
winning.
about all of this is that this is not, an insider. This is not even a major studio that wins. It's Neon. Neon just fucking won Best Picture. Is this the first time a major non-studio has won? I'm sure it isn't, because I'm sure we would have seen that headline. But that's incredible. Like, and the fact that Mikey Madison is not a leading actress in Hollywood.
She still
I mean,
won't
now
be
she
after
might
this.
be.
No,
but
I doubt it.
But you know what I mean? Winning Best Actor, and there's enough people to say, like, it's not for everybody. Not everybody who wins Best Actress goes on to a great career. And here's the thing: I don't even think she's a great actress.
She's not.
I mean,
No, she's
I
definitely
think I think that she fit the role pretty well. Because again, what is the role? It's a mouthy, it's a mouthy Brooklyn broad who takes off her clothes. That's the role.
Well, it's a bit like when Mark Wahlberg got nominated for The Departed, where he was playing a loudmouth jerk from Boston. Like that was a stretch.
Not only that,
the movie Shampoo is a lot like this, except it's much better. Okay, it's a much better movie. Rick, I hope you see it someday. But basically,
well, they both are getting Criterion. They both
follows a man whore. It follows Warren Beatty as a man whore in 1968 Los Angeles, right before the election. And it's all about how we were too busy fucking. We were too busy with our pants down to actually focus on this key moment in history where if we were the radicals that we said we were, the hippies and whatever, we would have actually changed things at the ballot box. But no, we were too high on drugs. We were too busy, fucking around to actually focus for one moment in history. So it's a much better movie than Anora, but that I look at it like that. Like this is a stupid person. This is a stupid person who got what she deserved.
I don't know
who
if
made
she's
bad choices.
I mean, I'm not sure if she's completely
back to-
stupid. I think she just was determined to get that glamorous life, even if it meant selling not just her body but her soul. But I didn't think she was stupid. I didn't like her, and there's a thing. I didn't find them funny. I didn't find the comedy funny.
I want to get Cider's thoughts on
back
this real
to
quick before we
Anora.
circle back around.
One last second, though, please.
Go ahead.
It's not only that, or my last point is my fucking governor praised this fucking movie as saying it's the best representation of war. That's
the best representation of
folks,
New York.
Best,
but it takes place in New
best
Jersey.
Representation of New York. My governor is Kathy Hochul.
Yeah.
Yes.
We don't like her.
I don't fucking like her either.
Yeah.
And it's like, holy fucking shit. That's.
I thought this took place in New Jersey.
Go.
I'm sorry.
Isn't Brighton Beach in New York?
Oh
boy. Well,
yes.
So
I thought it was Jersey.
The only reason why Anora won is because there wasn't a Tom Holland and Herbie the Love Bug Save Christmas movie, and that that would have surely dethroned this movie thoroughly. And I, for one, feel that was a massive misstep on all of Hollywood, including the Chinese part that nobody wants to talk about openly. And if you even look now, it's like Chinese Tom Holland, even, they really could have knocked it out of the park with this, but they didn't. Instead they went with this thing that everybody's got so many things to say about that I was totally paying attention to, because this movie is a thing.
What did surprise me, and Rob could probably answer this better than I can, is just how angry people got at this film winning. It was not so much that it won. People seemed to hate it. And I knew there were many people who hated Emilia Perez. There were many people, myself and yourself, all of us, who just hated that movie, separate from whatever you want to think of the transgender issue. It was just a bad film. But I did not realize just how many people despise Anora. I didn't think that movie would evoke such a.
Like I said, I think it has more to do with the message of the movie, and people just fundamentally rejecting the message.
But what is that message? What is here's the thing. What's the perception of what that is? You know what I mean? Like, is it that being a whore is good? Because it's like a Scorsese gangster movie. Do the gangsters end up happy, or do they end up dead in jail and their lives ruined.
Well, here's the thing. Someone with a clear frame of mind can see that, okay, clearly this is not a promotion of this industry that you guys want to promote because everything terribly happens to these people. Same thing with the Irishman. Well, how does the Irishman end? It ends up with either everyone dying or ended up demented in an old folks home. It doesn't end well for them, but these people who are pushing these type of messages, they don't want people to come to that conclusion here. Like I said, in the as far as the case of Anora goes, this Mikey person, she goes out there, she thanks the sex worker community legitimizing it, as if somehow this movie legitimizes that industry of basically whoredom and OnlyFans and all that stuff. You have the writer and the director of this film who very much wants sex work to be decriminalized in all ways. To, hey, if a woman just wants to give up her body, let her give up her body. There shouldn't be anything wrong with that whatsoever. This is kind of the message that they want to promote. And when people see movies like this, I don't know if they're ever going to come to that conclusion that me or you would come to watching a movie like this. It's the same thing like The Substance, right? Because remember with The Substance, people thought that that was somehow a movie about, you know, toxic masculinity and Hollywood and men forcing women to unpopular beauty standards. And we took it like, no, this is a movie about the lengths that women in Hollywood will go to be accepted by the men in the industry, right? Like, this is not a takedown of men like you think that it is. This is a takedown on you, because you guys essentially are the ones who would go to such depraved lengths just to be accepted by this industry that you guys supposedly don't like to begin with, right? But that's not how they took the movie. That's how we took the movie from the outside looking in. So I think that with the message that they're driving is different than the interpretation that someone with a clear frame of mind would accept from this. As far as the actual Academy Awards go, I didn't particularly have any dog in this fight, because I'm gonna be completely honest with you. I didn't like a single film that was nominated for this whole thing. By default, I would say The Substance is the best that was nominated, but I wouldn't even call that anywhere in my top 10 movies like of the year. As somebody had mentioned it earlier, Juror Number 2. How the hell did Juror Number 2 not get nominated? At the
studio
very
didn't
least,
back it up. The studio did not back it up. Did not promote it. Just kind of
that's a huge problem. And I know that's Warner Brothers through and through. We've talked about that, but to me, it's a sham that movie doesn't even get nominated to be in the conversation, because if that movie's nominated, I don't see a single movie that got nominated this weekend that beats that movie in any way, shape, or form whatsoever. Like, it's just not me. So I didn't have for The Brutalist, I didn't have anything for Conclave, Dune 2, or anything like that. So I'm just looking at it from the outside looking in. Like, all of these movies are trash to me. Few of them are probably pushing more perverse narratives than the other, but there's no one to really like root for. So I didn't get like mad.
I don't see there's anything perverse about the early days of Bob Dylan. Just myself.
Unknown.
I said some of them, not all of them.
That was the Green Book movie, and that's what I thought, because movies were so bad this year and the lineup was so underwhelming. I thought A Complete Unknown might have won Best Picture like Green Book did, where it split. What was it? Black Klansman and I forget what else.
Black Panther.
Okay, yeah, but it was like, I was happy the year Green Book won, because everybody was pissed. Everybody in Hollywood, in the Academy, was like, "What the fuck?"
No, but this whole thing, really respectable film.
Hollywood is clearly pushing a narrative and a social. They're trying to push the culture towards sexual immorality. That's really what it comes down to. We just mentioned it earlier here. This is the second year in a row where an actress has won Best Picture by essentially playing some form of a prostitute, right? And this is because essentially what people are going to start doing is it's like, oh, okay, well, these are the type of movies, these are the type of roles that get you Oscars now. And we have all seen this for a couple of years. People for a number of years have always tried to take the more dramatic route, thinking that, oh, this will be something that the Academy is really gonna love, and they've tried to do those, and so many people have tried and have failed, and other people just still have not gotten the hint that, no, okay, this isn't exactly what works now. That may have worked 30 years ago, but they've moved to this other lane here with this movie.
Well, I'll say that it was interesting when they expanded the field to 10 nominees. It was meant to bring in, quote, more popular films that more people knew. What ended up happening is we ended up with more obscure films that most people hadn't seen. Anora was not a hit.
By popularity, the only two movies a lot of people probably have seen is Dune and Wicked.
Dune, Wicked, maybe A Complete Unknown. That wasn't a flop by any stretch. It was pretty packed when I went.
I wouldn't say it was a mega success.
It wasn't a mega success, but it wasn't a flop. And the same with I'm trying to think. Wicked and Dune would be the big names. But other than that, a lot of these other Conclave, not a lot of people went to see this. So it
Nobody
ended
wants
up
your
having.
tranny pope.
Nobody went to what? I didn't hear you.
Nobody wants your tranny pope.
No, they want the
Thank you very
transgender.
much.
They want the transgender drug lord.
Yeah,
That's what they would prefer.
Yeah, so just a final point here on the Academy Awards, and I'll let Orange make his final point here too, is that, the morality issue of Hollywood should not be a surprise at this point. We know the type of things that they promote, as an industry, and so it shouldn't be a surprise that there's a deep push to normalize prostitution and, like I said, OnlyFans and other kind of depraved things. I mean, you look at Hollywood music scene, you got people now who are superstars just for the fact that they shaved their ass in front of a camera at every waking opportunity. I mean, why is Ice Spice thing? Why is Lotto? It's just one prostitute after another posing as a pop artist, and this is essentially what you have now. So it shouldn't be shocking to anyone that this is where we're at. You have to understand here is that if you want to protect anyone that you care about from the moral rot that is seeping out of Babylon, as I like to call it here, you got to take the extra mile, just pulling yourself away. And I understand this is why the Hollywood industry is not doing very well now, because people have just fundamentally given up on cinema as a result of this. Because one, you're not giving them anything solid enough as far as entertainment goes to make them go all in on the cinematic industry. And then when you're promoting things like this as is somehow the best of the best that you have to offer, people just tune out entirely. And like I said, maybe that's a good thing, because at the end of the day, I mean, I don't know how much money Anora actually made, but was it
15,
something that was super
15 million
on a $6 million
it's about
budget.
it was like 40 million on a $6 million budget. So for its budget wise, it made a lot of money, but it wasn't like a massive hit as far as like globally.
Here's the thing:
like
are people going to remember? And this is more for Rob, but anyone can answer. Are people going to remember Anora 6 months from now or a year from now?
No,
I don't remember it now.
Yeah. See,
I will say this as someone who has not watched the movie: Crash is better, and I'll eat that. Orange Hat, what do you say?
I don't know about that.
Not only is Hollywood normalizing this, remember the significance of Poor Things, folks. An adult body had the brain and mind of a child
dead fetus
put into that body.
Fine. Yeah.
Doesn't matter. It is their way of
makes it worse.
It might be worse.
It is their way of loopholing the normalization of sex with children. It was basically their way of doing it. And that fucking movie Emma Stone got Best Actress for it. Notice that women have to fucking take off their clothes to get Best Actress. Even now today.
More than that now.
Well, Adrian Brody did get raped in his movie.
Yeah, that's right.
Let me finish. Why did Harvey Weinstein get arrested again?
I don't know.
It seems that the casting couch is no. They took the casting couch and they actually put it in the fucking film. Why did Harvey? You might as well just fucking let Harvey Weinstein out of prison and fucking pardon him.
I mean, we all know they didn't want to go after him. They threw him under the bus to protect everyone else who was doing the exact same thing that Harvey Weinstein was doing. But there's one point.
God.
That too, but there's one point that I wanted to point out here too. Something that Orange had mentioned earlier. It's like, why on one hand are we telling men that sexualizing women is bad and that you guys shouldn't do it, that none of these movies should be propped up for the male gaze, yet these are the movies that we're pushing for Best Actress. And it's because somehow, and I've seen this in pro wrestling too, and I've talked about this on multitude of episodes regarding this, is that this is their mindset. I'm not saying this is right, but this is how they think. They think that, a woman who, let's use pro wrestling as an example here. There's people out there who hate the idea of bra and panty matches from the 2000s because in their mind, it was Vince McMahon, this evil white billionaire who was going out there and forcing these women against their will to do mud wrestling matches and do bra and panties. And it was a terrible time for these women because they were forced to do it against their will. Now, of course, there's no actual evidence to support that they were forced to do these things against their will. They actually got paid a lot of money to do this. They did it willingly, right? But they don't see it like that. They just think that, oh, they were forced to do this, and that makes it bad. On the flip side, if a female wrestler were to, let's say, do OnlyFans, where she's selling pictures of her butthole for $10 a pop or $10 a month on OnlyFans, well, that's her choice. And because it's her choice, it's empowering that she does stuff like that. So they have this complete warped view of reality that, let's say, prostitution, OnlyFans, or prostitution, whether you're a stripper or whatever the case may be, that, oh, well, that's their choice. They're the ones choosing to use their sexuality, so that makes them empowered. That's feminism incarnate right there, right? So in their minds, that's good. But if you just want to watch women, take off their clothes like that, they're just doing it for your entertainment, and that's bad. It's like, it makes absolutely no sense to anyone with an IQ above 40, but this is the mindset of these people. This is why in their minds, OnlyFans, prostitution, stuff like that is good as long as it's her choice to do those things. But if a man partakes in it, you deserve to die.
But that's the thing, is that and obviously, it's not your view, but they're all choices. Mm-hmm. And it's like the idea that, like, it just depends on how self-destructive it is. Like, is it part of a bigger picture entertainment company? You know what I mean? Or is it, hey, let me, like, literally give away all of my value and, get constant attention and, have no deeper pursuit past that. So, I mean, it's like, just look at the bigger picture, which of course these people can't do. But yeah, it's, and I don't disagree with, like, what you guys are saying, that, like, I mean, Hollywood has been pushing like sex in movies for fucking 50 ever since the Hays Code ended. You know what I mean? So I'm completely, I just look at, I really do. I look at it from an artistic lens. That's how I judge it. That's how I look at it. And I've even wanted to write a book, which is like movies that, basically movies that the people who made them are wrong about. Like Spike Lee's Do the Right Thing. And it's, there's so many movies where I literally disagree with the director and them talking about it, because a lot of the time, people just make up shit after the fact. And I'm like, I literally don't believe you. I watched that movie. I don't believe you.
And one other point here, just real quick too. I think you mentioned this. You guys remember a little movie called Last Night in Soho? It came out like 3 or 4 years ago. It was like Anna Taylor-Joy, and it was like an Edgar Wright film. The ending of the movie is that this woman was essentially, she tried to be a star and she basically got sold off into prostitution, right? So she had to sleep with a bunch of Johns, and at some point she ends up becoming a serial killer who kills all the Johns that she was paid to have sex with. And the message of the movie towards the end is that they let her go because, well, it was their fault that they drove her to becoming a suicidal hooker, because they should have known better than trying to have sex with this woman. So when she's killing her Johns, the whole frame is that prostitution is bad and it's their fault, so they deserve their death. Yet here we are a couple of years later, and the same industry is telling you, well, being a prostitute is actually a good thing, and we need to decriminalize it because it's a woman's choice. It's like, how do you have two wildly conflicting narratives being pushed simultaneously, and no one steps back for 1 second and go, okay, wait a minute. Like, didn't you guys just tell us a few years ago that this was bad, but now all of a sudden it's good? Like, how do you have two conflicting views simultaneously?
Logic isn't real, Jacob. It's a societal construct. Logic isn't real.
It's interesting because when you were talking about that, and maybe Rob knows this particular movie, Mona Lisa, with Bob Hoskins.
Very good. Yes,
it was, and he lost to Paul Newman's Lifetime Achievement Award for The Color of Money. But in that movie, they don't portray prostitution as a very good thing. I mean, they're beaten up, they're basically held prisoner. So with this idea of Anora, first off, Anora, if I remember correctly, she always denied that she was a prostitute. She was a stripper or a dancer, but she was not a prostitute, even though she got paid for sex.
Mm-hmm.
That's prostitution. But I don't know if they want to portray prostitution as a good thing or a pleasant thing or an empowering thing. I don't think it is, because at the end, look what happened to her. She lost out. She didn't get anything. She should have taken the deal. She should have taken that annulment deal that they kept offering her, but she was stubborn. So I don't know why people want to suggest that prostitution is a beautiful thing in a film. I mean, even something like Pretty Woman, that was fantasy, and I think all of us knew it was fantasy. Here, it's not shown as fantasy; it's shown as very unpleasant. And I mean, but again, my issues were separate from the graphic nature of the sexual content, which I did not like. But there were other things in that movie, which is why I did not rank it high, and it's not in my top 10. But hey, at least it's not Amelia Perez that's Best Picture. You know what? As much as I dislike Anora winning, I will take it over Amelia Perez. I'll take Joker Folie à Deux over Amelia
What's her
Perez.
face still got Best Supporting Actress, which is a disgrace in and of itself.
Yes, it was. Yes, and it got Best Song too, and it was like a terrible song. It's the only time that I was rooting for that that movie about the heroic postal workers who defeated Hitler to win.
It's probably one of the years where I would hope that 3-6 Mafia had a song so they can win an Oscar.
Just be glad that you didn't have to hear Rick sing the actual song from Amelia Perez multiple times.
Yeah.
The only reason I didn't complain more was because I was very stoned, so that helped.
Was that?
Hey, you did very well.
Is that the name of the song? Multiple times?
No, it's something.
No, that's a theme from. That's a theme from Anora.
Or something like that. Yeah,
El Mal. Well, I was trying to just emphasize how bad the song was and how bad Zoe Saldana
sing it more,
was.
right? Yeah, you should emphasize how bad it is by singing it so we can hear it.
It's extra awful.
Yes. Well, I'm sorry, I don't know the song from the heroic postal workers movie, so I couldn't sing that.
You two shut up!
And with that, we will move on to our closer here, which is Michelle Trachtenberg passing away at the age of 39. And this is a story that took a lot of people by surprise because, I mean, let's be honest, when was the last time you've seen Michelle Trachtenberg in anything? But I don't remember if it was here on the bar room or like another conversation we had. I believe we had this conversation with Rob not that long ago, but we were talking about like Michelle Trachtenberg recently, and she hadn't been doing very well in the last couple of years, just put it to you that way. It's like, if you look back on a lot of her social media posts over like the last 3 years, you notice that just seeing the look on her face, she was clearly very unhappy. She was physically unwell, and a lot of people noticed it, but no one really wanted to say like what was really going on, right? And to be fair, she was very, very defensive of her own health in the last couple of years. So it's like no one truly knew like what was going on and what was happening, but we just knew that something wasn't right. Let's go ahead and start with this story. Harriet Spy actress Michelle Trachtenberg died at the age of 38. 39, I should say. The only thing that we know officially about this is that apparently her mother found her unconscious, unresponsive at her apartment in New York. And that's really the only thing that we know up to this point. There was leaked through the press that apparently she recently had a liver transplant, but we don't know the specifics of why she needed a liver transplant. So we don't know if this was something that was like drug abuse related, alcohol abuse related, some form of cancer that she was dealing with. No details specifically about that has come out yet, but like I said, she law enforcement officials in New York City found her dead in her apartment by her mother. They said that she believed to have died of natural causes, noted that she had recently had a liver transplant and may have been experiencing complications, but that hasn't been confirmed yet. And we'll talk about the kind of the suspect thing about this here in a second. But yeah, she was found unconscious and unresponsive when the police found her. They pronounced her dead at the scene. As police would come said to call a woman who had suffered cardiac arrest. So there's talks that it could have been heart related or drug related. Nobody really knows for certain here, but yeah, she was found passed away there. And then this story that kind of squeaked by and a lot of people didn't see it is that her parents have apparently rejected an autopsy to find the official cause of death. Now, what I heard is that they're citing some kind of religious reasons for that one. I don't know what the religious reasons would be, because in case you guys don't know, Michelle Trachtenberg, I believe, is Russian Jewish, so she is Jewish. Nothing in her life suggests that she was like an Orthodox Jew, like she was practicing Judaism or anything like that. I don't know if that's the same way for her parents. completely different situation there. But since the actress family had chosen not to go forward with the procedure citing religious reasons, no foul play expected, and the decision was not overruled by a medical examiner. So there won't be an official cause of death that gets released, at least through a medical operation here, which is very, very suspicious. Like I said, without I don't know if there's anyone here who's Orthodox Jewish who would know kind of the reasons why this wouldn't happen. Or maybe there's some kind of rule in Judaism that you can't do that. But like I said, she, as far as I could tell, wasn't Orthodox. So if this has been a parent's decision, I don't know what the rule will be against that. But yeah, they confirmed this. It says no other details to this time. We probably won't find out anything. Now, here's kind of the story in between everything, which is why no one has really spoken about, is that over the last 10 years, I think the last big thing that Michelle Trachtenberg had been in was Gossip Girl. And that was kind of like in the late 2000s where that show blew up. I believe it was her and Blake Lively were both big a part of that show at the time period. When Gossip Girl went off of the air, basically Michelle Trachtenberg disappeared for a while. She was a part of a few like low budget, like, horror related shows, some kind of like mystery related shows. But since then, she was dealing with numerous health issues and mental health issues. I know she had gained a bunch of weight at a certain point, but then she did lose it. I don't know if that's from naturally losing the weight or if it was some kind of medical reason there. It's been confirmed that she recently had a liver transplant. It was about a year ago that somebody had posted a picture, or I think she posted a picture of herself that showed that her eyes were very, very yellow, right? And obviously someone with yellow eyes, Janus eyes and that nature.
Jaundiced.
Textbook, jaundice, thank you. As a textbook symptom of some kind of liver related issue. We saw this recently with Randy Moss, where people saw his eyes and he had to come out like a week later confirming that he was suffering from liver cancer. I don't know if he's in remission or not, but he was something he was definitely dealing with. When you look at her social media page over the last several years, like you can see that physically she just wasn't well. Something was wrong there. There was a photo that came out about a couple of years back. I can show you just kind of the scroll of like her Instagram feed here. But you can tell here, like she looks very, very frail in a lot of these photos. Like I said, the yellow eyes, people notice this, and just generally didn't look very happy during the last couple of years here as well. I think it was this photo right here with Alexa Pega here, who was basically were like, "Are you okay?" Like a lot of people were like looking at her. It's like, you don't look well. You all right? And she kind of brushed it off and kind of like snapped back at people saying that, I'm fine, I'm healthy. Why you guys ask me like this weird question? So she was very, very defensive about what was actually going on with her. But clearly, just by looking at her, you can tell something wasn't quite right. And this had been going on for a number of years. So I think for most people who hadn't heard from Michelle Trachtenberg in quite some time, they took it as a kind of a major shock that, oh my God, like why did she die so young? What happened here? If you've been really paying attention for the last few years of her life, you knew that something mentally and physically was wrong, even though they never explicitly stated what it was. So when you heard the announcement of her death, it was definitely shocking, but I don't think it was very surprising here. And as it relates culturally to Michelle Trachtenberg, I mean, obviously from people on our age demographic would know her very, very well. She was a big run in the Nickelodeon in the 1990s. She was involved in the early 90s TV show Adventures of Pete and Pete. She was Harriet the Spy, which was a popular kids movie back during that time frame. She also did things such as like, I believe she was a part of Carissa Explains It All. She was a part of Figure It Out, other shows like that. As she grew older, she was had a short stint in Buffy the Vampire Slayer, which a lot of people remember her from. She was in the movies such as Euro Trip and Black Christmas, the 2006 version. And then, like I said, Gossip Girl was kind of her last big thing in her career, and that was like late 2000s, early 2010s. And then, for the most part, it was guest appearances until we just didn't see her again like anymore. So I think the last thing that she did was she was a part of the Gossip Girl reboot that they did a number of years ago on HBO Max. She did a couple of episodes of that, and then that was pretty much it. So there's a couple of aspects of the story that I want to bring out here in a kind of a bigger detail, but I want to start this one off with you. I'll start off with you here, Rob, and then we'll circle around here. What was your thoughts about Michelle Trachtenberg's death? I know you talked about it a little bit earlier that it was shocking to you, but what was your biggest thoughts about her death and kind of her career?
Yeah, unfortunately, it makes me think about child actors. I mean, she was a child actor. She was there in Nickelodeon I grew up with her like on TV, so it's surreal. It's somebody. I mean, her birthday is 2 days before my ex-girlfriend / best friend. So it hits home because it's not to be narcissistic, but it's a reflection of my own mortality and people I know, their mortality, and knowing that we don't have forever on this planet. But it's unfortunate, but you can, if you see those recent pictures, it's not just the eyes, but like the cheekbones, like the areas around the eyes that sunken in kind of look. I mean, it's just like, you don't want anybody to have gone through that, much less somebody who's shown great talent and ability to perform time and again in a competent way. So but yeah, I knew of her. I always liked seeing her pop up in things. I always thought she had really good screen presence. Yeah, and it's unfortunate for anybody's life to end like that, so it's just sad when it is all said and done. It's like we each have our problems, we each have our burdens to carry, but most people make it past age 39. So I thinking of her family, thinking of the fans that she had, memorable as an individual as it was, but yeah, it's just a sad situation ultimately.
Who's that? Is that Orange?
That wasn't me.
Is that Orange?
Sorry.
Well, Orange, what's your take on the death of Michelle Trachtenberg, and what did you remember her from, if you did?
It is tragic. I mean, she's my age. She's a little younger than me. She's 39. She died at 39. And it really is sad that somebody's I'm sorry, yes, 40 is young for me. It really is sad that somebody that young is. I mean, I remember her from Buffy, obviously. I watched Buffy last year all the way through, and it's like, okay, that was enlightening in many different ways. I also remember seeing her in an episode of Criminal Minds where she played a stalker for Spencer Reed, the behavioral analysis genius in the show. And his love interest got stalked and kidnapped and then killed by that actress in the show. But the fact that she was dealing with liver issues, it's like, was it because of drinking or was it because of health issues? I mean, what was causing it? Because kids at my age, people at my age, we fucking party. We party hardy. And drinking was a thing back then. Still is nowadays. Kids still go out to fucking drink. Me, personally, I don't drink. I mean, my liver, if it shuts down, will not be because of alcohol. But the fact that her parents are not wanting her body cut open, yes, it's most likely a religious thing. The body needs to remain unsullied for whatever reason. And I'm sorry, but all the consumption of alcohol kind of sullies the body, if you ask me. But it really is tragic. I almost said tragic. But yeah, it's tragic. And I hope that she may rest in peace. And I hope that, maybe one day the truth will come out about why she died.
Yeah, I mean, so this is the photo I think we were referencing a while back ago when we had this conversation. It was this one. Now, this is before, the real bad yellow eyes start settle in, but this is from almost 4 years ago, a little bit about 3-4 years ago, and it's just like, you can just see in her eyes. I think Robin mentioned it too. It's like she just looks like a woman who wasn't happy. Like there was something going on behind closed doors where who knows, but for these women that get chewed up and spit out of this Hollywood system, I mean, Was she unhappy about the fact that, she wasn't as popular as a star as she was 20, 30 years ago? Was she unhappy with her life? Was she unhappy with, her health issues? Like, it was one of those things where it's like, even though now we won't know officially what the cause of death was, it honestly could have been a number of things. It could have been she drunk herself to death. It could have been that she had a sudden bout of liver cancer that took her out. It could have been suicide. I wouldn't have been surprised if she had, taken herself out or something like that, right? Like, nothing really would have been surprising given the nature of her last few years. And that's kind of a sad thing. And this is kind of a warning for like a lot of people out here. I know we were talking about this Mikey girl who just won Best Picture, but the reality is that with Hollywood, when the industry is done with you, a lot of people just can't cope with no longer being in the spotlight anymore. And like, it's a really, really ugly game that happens. Like I said, a lot of these people get chewed up and spit out, and then they're just never the same again. And who knows if that's exactly what happened to her. And it's sad. I mean, it's just a sad way that she went out. And, people were asking me, like, do you think that she was saved? In all honesty, I would just have to assume no, because like I said, there was no indication here that she had any kind of religious leanings whatsoever. I'm just kind of assuming she was in that New York atheist group there. So that's sad in and of itself. And just seeing her, it's a cautionary tale that, the whole fame and glitz and glamour thing, it ain't what it is, what you think that it is. A lot of people have their own views of what this game is, and in reality, it's much, much worse than you would think. Cider, what's your take on Michelle Trachtenberg here?
As I said, I grew up watching her in the Buffy replays because I was too young to watch the 90s as it aired live. And you were talking earlier about how she had like a certain atmosphere around her, and I believe it was that girl next door attitude that she had. I don't know if the stardom ever went to her head, but it certainly didn't find its way on film, I guess. It just always seemed like she was just somewhat approachable, and that's why it was enjoyable to watch her stuff. And I think what you like about all the stuff that went on here, there are unfortunate accidents. Not, I wouldn't say accidents, I guess. There are unfortunate events that happen here where, despite our best efforts, someone passes away in an untimely fashion. And we have to understand that if you believe in God or not, there is a greater plan in action. It's pretty obvious. You can look around and see that there are certain things happening. And who knows, 2,000 years from now, some family was influenced by Michelle Trachtenberg's early passing, and a cure for whatever issue she had is produced. And you have to kind of zoom out and appreciate that this person had a good life while it lasted. And the last of it may have sucked pretty bad, but leading up to that, it wasn't so bad.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it just seems like
you muted, Rob.
I just wanted to say, organ transplants are no picnic. Especially like we talk about all the successes, and you see those, and don't get me wrong, those are great, and I'm so happy that people can do that. But there's a lot of people who their body rejects the drugs that you have to take, or rejects the transplant itself, or it's very hard. It's a very, very arduous, difficult process. And yes, with a little bit of luck and, doing everything you're supposed to do and not drinking and eating things that you can, or whatever it might be, you can have a nice life, and, but yeah, a lot of people, it doesn't work out. And, unfortunately, I went to I went to a dark place in my head where it was like, she was a child star. Who knows what happened? She was certainly around, Nickelodeon so again, it's just like, it's an unfortunate thing. I'm glad that she brought a lot of positivity and happiness to people's lives through her ability and everything. But yeah, it's hard to see that. It's hard to see somebody that was at least visible for a time kind of struggle there towards the end.
Yeah. Real quick before I go to Rick here, So I think JAC said, yeah, you need to drink like a quarter of hard liquor daily in your life that quickly. If you guys remember, and I mentioned this a couple times too. Remember there was a show on the Disney called The Jersey, and
Yeah.
it was one of my favorite shows, probably my favorite Disney Channel show of that time period. It came out in the late '90s, but the lead actor for that show, Michael Galliotta, he passed away 9 years ago at the age of 31. Now, they said that he died from obviously hypertension and high cholesterol, but there was also people indicating that that was probably a product of heavy drinking. So there is evidence of people out there who just do, in fact, drink themselves to death. And, it's sad that he was several years younger than Trachtenberg was when she passed away. And that's how
pills and alcohol together. Oh my God. Like, seriously,
Yeah.
you'd be surprised the
That'll
damage
fuck your liver up. To touch on Rob's point, if there is a possibility that Michelle Trachtenberg may have been exposed to some of the more perverse sides of Hollywood, because, like it or not, folks, Joss Whedon's a fucking perv, and Joss Whedon did Buffy and Angel. So, I mean, everybody knows the shit that Charisma Carpenter went through when she got pregnant. But if it does turn out that sort of shit happened and she was traumatized to it and led to drinking, just goes to show that maybe some people might need to be less supported and less. I mean, sure, they did a good series, they made a good show, but for fuck's sake, if they're fucking perverts and they're open about it, maybe stop supporting them. James Gunn is another good example.
Yeah, I'll always love Chinatown, the pianist, but that doesn't really take away what Roman Polanski did. You know what I mean? He literally is a disgusting, terrible person. And yeah, it's just, yeah, one of those things.
Yep. Oh, Rick, I wanted to get your thoughts here. I don't think you're the only person that hasn't gone here.
Yeah. Well, first, it's always tragic when someone relatively young dies at 39, and especially someone that you really don't expect to die. As far as I know, if she had health issues, like you said, she denied them, and it's unfortunate because I think the people that were calling her out, by and large, were not saying it to be mean. They were saying it out of genuine concern, and I think this goes for a lot of people when they tell you, get your checkup or you're not looking well. I remember her almost exclusively from Eurotrip. It is the guiltiest of guilty pleasures for me. I love that movie. I shouldn't, but I always get a kick out of it. For her, the cause of her death, all right, we may never know. It is well within the parents' right, even if it's not for religious reasons, and they're just saying that it is, for them to keep the matter private. It is their daughter, after all, and she's no longer there, so they're grieving the loss of a child. And if they don't want what they fear would be some sort of public spectacle, or like, oh, they're going to discover things about our daughter that we would rather they not discover, it's within their right. And I respect that. And I hope other people will respect that decision, whatever we think of it. I will say that if you do think that someone is in some kind of trouble health wise, if you see it in their face, if you see it in their eyes, yes, keep approaching them, nudge them. And all I can say really is just it's a terrible shame. And it's always the case that a lot of people, famous people who die young, and you get this outpouring of grief and affection and tribute. It would be good for them to remember that there are a lot of people who do genuinely care about them, not so much about the characters they play, or the happiness that they brought to them, to their lives, but they care about them. So it's just, I hope her family eventually manages to heal, because it could be hard. It is probably the hardest thing for a parent to have to lose their child. So that's just my 2 cents. I don't really have much. I didn't watch Buffy. I didn't watch Harriet the Sky. And yes, that should have won Best Original Song. Scotty doesn't know. It is one of the great songs. I love that song. especially when they do the techno remake in Eastern Europe.
Yeah, that came out when I was 15. I had no idea what people were referencing, and I still don't because I've never seen Euro Trip. But that's because Road Trip was just like, okay, I'm like, really, we're gonna okay. You have to remember we had like American Pie and like we had a million of those movies that came out like in a 5-year span, so it was just like, okay, can we just move on? And now it's like we don't get any of those movies, so it's like, enjoy it while it lasts, guys. Enjoy it while it lasts.
So I remember happier moment of Trachtenberg's life. This is an old show called Figure It Out, just in case you guys didn't know. If you guys didn't watch this, came out like the mid to late 90s. It was basically a bunch of people trying to figure out what these weirdo kids' talents were, and they were doing things like, I don't know, playing the flute with your armpit or something like that. And this is a clip from the 1999 show, so here's a little thing.
You're going to take home the grand prize. You weren't paying attention. Round number 3, 1 minute on the clock. Danny, are you ready? Okay. I haven't said go yet, but are you ready? Ready? Go. Michelle can take it. Michelle, of course the secret slime action was thinking about a monkey. Because you were thinking about a monkey.
I was.
You were thinking about this monkey right here.
Amazing.
Isn't that amazing?
So cool.
We knew it. But we want to see it one more time, the secret slime action, replay courtesy the slime cam. Actually, that was pretty good research as far as picking up that hat. But because you got slime, let's remember that Alexis from our studio audience is taking home a prize. Jay, what's she taking home?
It's totally cool. It's totally warm. It's the totally official Figured Out sweatshirt. And remember, you can only...
I go to Orlando to be on a TV show. You only give me a jacket?
Well, it's hard to wear in Orlando.
Somewhere it's on a Goodwill rack and nobody knows what the hell it means.
They can't figure it out.
Somewhere is that like a Village Value like thrift store?
I have no idea what that is, so I'm assuming that's probably where it is.
Oh boy. Well, any final thoughts on this story before we wrap things up?
Requies's got the bocce.
They should. Maybe they could play. Maybe they could play Mozart's Requiem, and everyone could freak out over how it's the worst song to pick for an in memoriam section.
Anyway, let's go. So I think we're going to mention John Cena turning heel, but none of you guys are wrestling fans, so like, who really cares? Too long didn't read version. John Cena turned into a bad guy by attacking Cody Rhodes, and now he's in some kind of Illuminati gimmick with The Rock and Travis Scott. So that's really what it comes down to.
So he's doing what The Rock did last year, then?
Yes.
Okay.
So he's doing Hollywood Hulk Hogan. Wow.
By the way, when that tweet went around about like what is worse or like what's the bigger heel moment, I thought that this was a John Cena moment from like the 2000s. I didn't even realize it was like something that just happened. It was like, you people are fucking on crack, okay? Anything that happened in the 90s is better than anything that happens now.
Like I said, you can't tell these people that. These people believe that they're in the best era of wrestling that we have ever seen in all of the world.
Listen, I just randomly threw on Invasion because I loved the whole like WWF, ECW, WCW storyline, like Invasion from 2001, and it literally had a bra and panties match. It was like Lita and Trish Stratus against, I think it was Tori Wilson and Stacy Keibler. It was fantastic. That is all.
I'm still on the Illuminati part.
Yeah, so literally the setup for this whole thing was that The Rock wanted Cody Rhodes' soul because Illuminati, I guess, right? And it was him, John Cena, Travis Scott was there for some weird reason. So like, what was Cody's answer going to be? And because they're on Netflix now, they can say some words they probably couldn't say before. So this was the conclusion.
Hey.
And of course, like Rock, he's like looks all of like 52 now. Like he's definitely not the young corporate champion.
He's somebody's
uncle.
uncle.
1999.
He's got that neck jerky going on.
Mm-hmm. It's almost as if it's not natural to be 300 pounds of muscle when you're 52 years old.
Yeah.
So basically, people are being entertained by some sort of soap opera type situation where like,
Yes.
oh,
He looks like he's getting
professional
ready
wrestling.
to read in bed.
No, he's somebody's uncle. Like he's coming. Look, no, he's like the muscle uncle. Everybody's got that muscle uncle that shaved his head a while ago, and he shows up to like Sunday dinner, and he wants to talk about his gains, and he wants to talk about the women at the gym that were checking him out, but were too afraid and intimidated to have conversation with him. You know, he's that guy. You know him. You've seen him at the car wash.
Yeah, I mean, he's like the what was that, the Guido uncle who's like 50 years old, still works out and still like hitting on girls like half his age, but he always
Yep.
shows up to all the family gatherings.
One of my girlfriends had that uncle, and I just couldn't believe that was a real person. Just that was a 100% real.
Clay in like
What's
real
that?
life. Andrew Dice
What?
Clay in real life.
No, just like he looked kind of like that, kind of like The Rock, but he was like, you know, you get like fat and then you get like thinned out and your face stays fat. He had that happen to him, so he was like taco truck Mexican on top, bodybuilder Mexican below the neck, and it was just really. It's like somebody photoshopped another head on top, but he's got that thing with the glasses that are shaded down, and he was bald, and his head looked like a hot dog.
There's one funny part that I want to point out here. First of all, this was the big thing everyone was talking about on Twitter here. So that was it.
What's with his
Here's
hair?
The funny part was
That's a 50-year-old man that did that.
First of all, old. I mean, they're both old because like The Rock's like 52, Cena's like 47 now. Two things happening here. One,
They're like
Cena's
7,000 years old.
Cena's a multi-millionaire a few times over, so you think that if anyone can afford hair plugs, it could be him, right? But he has like this giant like mountain of like a bald spot on the back of his head that he just embraces now at this point. And I'm just like, okay, you're like a top Hollywood actor and you're just not gonna do anything with it. Sure, why not? It's like, I don't know why you would have plugs on the front and not in the back. It just kind of seems like, you know.
Well, I
what's going on
mean,
here.
he's been naked before. He just wants to be naked in this head as well.
But he has that China money, so you know what's that
So-
about?
Cena is
Here's the-
fucking trash.
But no, here this is what I was going to mention here. It's like, so in the context of wrestling, this has been his first heel turn since 2003, right? So now he's officially a bad guy in the WWE. But in all reality, he returned heel a number of years ago when he did that Chinese apology for the Fast and Furious thing that happened 3 years ago. So he's already been a bad guy in a lot of people's eyes for the last several years. But now he's officially a bad guy in wrestling. So it's like, yeah, right.
The problem with Cena is that he can't go full bald because then he looks like an over muscular Bruce Willis. Okay, imagine him bald. That's just Bruce Willis with more muscle. That's it, and that's why he can't commit. So he's like slowly transforming into Bruce Willis. So people like will eventually forget what Bruce Willis looks like, and then he'll be like, "Hey, look, I'm bald," and people are like, "Whoa, that's original and new." Would you like to do a series of action films about being a grumpy, grizzled cop?
Well, it's weird because it's like he had like kind of a shorter hairstyle somewhere between like the mid 2000s where it was like almost army cut. But at the
Yeah.
same time now, like if you try to do that now at his age with the bald spot that he has now, it would just look very, very odd. So it's like you either do what he's trying to do now or you just go completely bald. Like there is no in between at this
Spray
point.
paint it. Just spray paint it.
Why
Nobody
does he look like he's got cancer?
Oh my gosh.
And so Cena, now that he's a full-time actor, he's dropped about, I would say like 30, 35 pounds of muscle because like in his height, he was about 260, but I mean, he's not a full-time wrestler anymore.
Yeah.
So he dropped about like 25, 30 pounds of muscle to be a full-time actor
And
guy.
none
I
of it
mean,
was in his neck.
Yeah.
I mean,
Like, look at that. That's
he looks
amazing,
Like,
like-
he's lost a lot of fucking weight. I mean, does he have cancer? He's also looking
No.
extremely pale.
No, The
I
Rock
mean,
went through this.
it's a weird
too.
thing. It was the same thing with like Kurt Angle too, because Kurt Angle had lost a lot of weight like in the early 2010s as well. Now, have you seen Kurt Angle in like, you know, the 90s and the 2000s? He was always a big guy, but then he went from like 240 down to like 205, and everyone was like, "Wow, why is Kurt so small now?" And it was like he just dropped all that, you know, gear weight that he had put on being in WWF.
He was like 65% neck muscles. It's just like
And that's what it is that also by like mid 40, it's really a strain on the heart to have like that much physical activity going on and your diet being so stilted into protein and stuff. It's really kind of rough. But It's that bulk thing. Is that when you go out into Hollywood, they're like, unless you're gonna be the guy that doesn't say anything and has like a 5-minute scene of like trouncing the bad guy, like that Thomas Jane Punisher movie, that your big body isn't gonna be useful for nothing. They don't want you for that. They want you to be like dad that has a weightlifting system in the garage, body size. That's what they want. Because it's hard to cast a guy that's the Superman body type for anything. Because, like, what do you know? Not really that relatable. Most guys don't roll out of bed and be like, all right, got to do 1,000 push-ups before I take a shit.
Which is, and I just want to say real quick, as a sort of like slightly changing the subject, like Arnold Schwarzenegger as a product is kind of amazing. Like, comes out of nowhere, is this big hulking dude, is charming, is funny. He can do, obviously he's great at action, great at, some stunts. I mean, obviously, you need a stunt double for some things, but, and just like all these years later, there's not been anybody that's come close to being Arnold Schwarzenegger or duplicating that. I mean, Stallone did his own thing. I think they get compared unfairly, really, but, I think looking back, Arnold Schwarzenegger was so incredible because The Rock, that's really what he wanted to be. Like, he wanted to try to replace, and it just never happened. And to be fair, the movies weren't nearly as good. Like, it's really apples and oranges. But yeah, The Rock is just like, his whole acting thing has gotten so dry and so tired. And what's funny is I went to see Walking Tall when it came out in 2004, and I didn't think it was bad, but I also hadn't seen the original from the 70s or whatever. So, but yeah, it's like, it's weird how like his career got worse over time.
Passion.
Yeah, his public persona hasn't helped much over the last several years either. I can leave it at that. But I think that's it for now. We don't got much else to add, so I'll go ahead and give you guys the floor here so we can get on out of here. Let's start with this guy. Last one in, first one out. How's that going?
It's going great. All right, so I've just got more reviews. I'm still working through my Exorcist retrospective and always wondering why I started it. And I probably am going to watch, or what is that, Mikey 6 or 17 or whatever that thing is, because I'm a glutton for punishment. So there's that, and yeah, just more reviews and my Exorcist retrospective. That's pretty much my life. That's it. Thank you.
All right, Orange, what you got coming up?
I have well, it's March Madness for my theme streams, and it's not sports, it's characters who go basically batshit insane with vengeance and just murder and mayhem and shit. Psychological streams essentially, folks. The next, or me and Mara are doing ones and twos and singles. Singles, unfortunately, I will not be here for the bar room on the last 2 Tuesdays of the month due to the fact that I had to reschedule my singles for Tuesday because, well, real life and shit, unfortunately. But Wednesdays are still on with Mara we're going to be watching green animation, Shrek 1 and 2. And Over the Hedge and Fern Gully are the singles. Uncensored is tomorrow night, or not tomorrow night, Friday night, 10 p.m. Other than that, I do the weekly recap on Sundays at 8 p.m. And we are going to be discussing anime instead of a movie. So yeah, make sure that you tune in for those. And also, I'm trying to reach 2,000 subs. So if you can help, please do.
All right, Rob.
Yeah, so I really don't have anything on my plate right now, but it's March, so I'm sure I'll throw in Irish related movies, mostly The Irish Mob, because that's my understanding of the Irish people as criminals. But that's fine. We got that. We got March Madness coming up. Baseball's coming up in April, so looking forward to that. Maybe we'll throw some baseball movies in. But like Rick said, I'm probably going to go see Mickey 17, which is the new Boon Jong Ho. I'm going to fuck up his name because apparently I don't read subtitles. So, but I'm going to go watch that. I'm not looking forward to it. Robert Pattinson in the leading role. But you can look out for that review. That'll be the first movie of 2025 that I've seen. It's March 3rd. So not a good sign, but hopefully new releases start kind of getting out there. And other than that, just you can follow me over my Twitter. That's usually where you can find me. I'd like to do more live streams, but right now I'm just out of ideas. So if there are any movies that you would like to hear my opinion on, you can always ask and throw that on a live stream or something. But other than that, take it easy, and we'll see you next week.
All right, Cider.
Amaranth shot a guy. That's right. She got held hostage for her crypto password, not her boobies. This is a very strange world. We're also going to be talking about
shot by Amaranth.
Right. Yeah. How fucked up is your life, right, man? Like, man, maybe it wouldn't be so bad working at the Dollar General if that's what you got to go through, right?
You got capped by a Twitch thought.
Right. In the night, like in the dark, like you could have been running, man. Yeah. She didn't even have a clear line of sight. Yeah. So anyway, we'll also be talking about how Sonic is MAGA. That's been brought to my attention. And more importantly, how Shadow, my boy, is the MAGA-ist of them all. So we'll see you tomorrow at 8 p.m. over on Bounding Into Comics for 01.
Oh, yeah. So
I'm tuning in for that one.
Yeah, I guess tomorrow we're going to talk about how Sonic is MAGA and that how a Twitch thought doing a hot tub stream shot a dude.
Boom, headshot.
And then the police had to drag him out of her house. That's embarrassing.
He's not even hurt. He's just like skinned on his shoulder. They got to drag him out because he's like, I can't walk, man. It's a shame.
That man is going to be a bitch in jail. He's a forever bitch status in jail, by the way.
You're holding somebody's pocket 100%. What we got coming up here? Yeah, so that's going to be on 01 tomorrow night, Bounding in the Comics channel. We got a lot of movies coming out the next few days, so I'll be doing movie reviews. I just saw Novocaine last night. We also have, Mickey 17, Queen of the Ring. There's also like a Dave Bautista, Mila Jovovich movie with Paul W.S. Anderson. So it's basically Resident Evil with Bautista. So that's also coming out this week. So a lot of reviews. Check those
Resident
out.
Bautista.
That'd be just terrible. Hope that movie doesn't suck. This coming Sunday, next episode of The Barroom, we wrapped up our 5-week series on Satanic Panic. So go back and check out all 5 episodes in great detail. This week, episode, I believe, is 86. We're going to be talking about, obviously, what's going on with the Pope at the moment. There's a lot of back and forth debate about his health, whether he is on death's door, whether he's going to recover. One way or another is a realistic possibility. We're looking at a new Pope in the next several weeks, maybe several months. So there is a couple of, let's just call it prophecies out there, quote unquote, saying that the next Pope will be the last Pope. We're going to essentially investigate the conspiracies and really talk about who the next Pope could be based on biblical prophecy. So very, very interesting episode coming up Sunday. And then next week we'll be back here, same time, same place. I think without Orange Hat, he probably won't be here, but everybody else should be back next week. So until then, thank you all the guys for listening to us on YouTube, on X, on Rumble
next week
for another. Oh, I guess he will be back. Damn it. Now I got to put the party things away. To you guys, thank you very much for joining us here for another episode. Adios, goodbye, and good night.
Okay. Oh.
Making your way through the daily grind takes everything you've got. Taking a break from all your worries sure would help a lot. Wouldn't you like to tune away? All those nights when you're feeling low, the rent is overdue, and your coffee maker's broken, your luck just seems to skew, and your boss is always on your case. Sometimes you wanna go where everybody knows your name, and they're always glad you came. You wanna be where you can see our troubles are all the same. You wanna be where everybody knows your name. Roll out of bed and you feel the dread. The morning's looking bleak. And your internet is down again. You haven't slept all week. and your car just broke down on the way. Be glad there's a place online where you can feel at ease. In the Barroom Podcast, friends, we share our thoughts and teas. Every story shared, every laugh so free. Sometimes you wanna go where everybody knows your name, and they're always glad you came. Wanna be where you can see our troubles are all the same. You wanna be where everybody knows your name. So here's to the moments we all hold dear. In this barroom of the airwaves with friends so near. Every story shared, every heartfelt cheer. It's more than just a podcast, it's where we steer.
I still don't feel like I know how to shoot these things.